on that record that Miloš spoke about. So the all-time kills record inside an Invitational tournament currently sits with Pino of NIP from SI 2020. He played 21 maps and hit 196 kills. Unbelievable performance. However, there's somebody in this game who is out to have something to say about that. Inside of 18 maps, so he's 3 maps short of Pino's final total. And Palu has 194 kills, so 3 kills today will see him take that record outright. Obviously, it's not necessarily fair to compare Invitational to Invitational every single year, but the numbers are there. The fact is, it will be the highest kills. And I say that because of the change in formats and the number of maps that teams played and things like that.
And based on how today goes, Bolo is not too far behind on
He's doing very well. Doing very well. If
close.
he was to get an average amount of kills, he sort of ties himself up with Nesk.
He could break the
not quite at Palu's level at the minute.
Absolutely. We saw these 2 maps coming out and just thought, man, this is a bit of a risk for Liquid, taking TSM to Kafe, a map that they admittedly have beat all NA teams on. They have not beaten a non-NA team on this map so far. They lost out to FaZe, they lost out to Giants, so a bit of a risk for them coming in, you might say. But I think given the strength of TSM on this map during the regular season, it is a bit of a risk. And Chalet, we've seen TSM shine on. We said coming into today, no more coastline, please, TSM. It was their first ban. So things going, I would wager in the draft, at least in TSM's favor on paper. But Liquid could yet come out with a surprise. Ban-wise, we've seen quite a few Ash bans over the last couple of days, to be honest with you, Tim. This one coming out again, targeted in towards TSM. So more of a lean towards Sophia. Not going to be impeding Bolo, that's for sure, when they get onto the attacking side. But to begin with, it's going to be the side of Liquid on the attack. We start on the top floor, and I'm seeing 2 things here, Tim. I'm seeing a castle, I'm seeing an Aruni. You know what that screams to me? Cigar hold.
It certainly looks that way. Now, interestingly, Des, as I've said previously, apart from Latin America, we don't see the top floor site played. It feels like we see it played a lot, but it's not got a great defensive win rate up here on the top floor. NAL, EU, I think I'm right in saying both of those are sitting around 35 to 40% win rate for the defenders. Latin America tend to do slightly better up here on the top floor. But TSM, that's where they are going to start us out. Now, the really interesting point to what I'm saying there is we don't necessarily see too much. We're starting to see this cigar hold sort of come back. And, you know, is that going to be the difference maker for the defenders?
Something I don't think I've ever really seen from a team is 3 bulletproof cameras, by the way, being brought along by the Jaeger, by the Aruni, and by the Castle. So likely because there is no Valkyrie on side and it's being banned away, that's always to be expected, and no Maestro, they're screaming, we still want the information game to come out here, really. So to us, those 3 bulletproofs should be doing a lot of work. A bit of a surprise, given TSM have been up there with, oddly enough, Team Liquid in teams that we have celebrated the use of C4s from. Yesterday, we saw the same coming out of Oxygen in Fox A, getting a couple of opening kills by chucking C4s up hatches on this exact map against TSM. Look at this hold, Tim. Often we'll talk about a shield inside a storage and half of the storage wall leading into piano being half opened up, giving you that head level sight line. But here we've gone for the laser gates on the soft wall and we've got a mirror window. So dropped away the notion of playing shields entirely, gone for something a little bit more hardy in the mirror. And what I love was the bait play against Liquid because they saw the bandit, they moved from the Hibana onto the Maverick. They may struggle to get this mirror window unseated without pushing in aggressively.
Bolo certainly looking to keep hold of the washroom at all costs as it stands. As you say, a lot of utility being expended on that one location, telling you just how important it is, obviously, in the minds of TSM to their hold here achieved. He has dropped down to pillars and is making his way across that mid floor for the time being. He will have a Nitro in hand, so something that Team Liquid need to be aware of. They are watching the red stairs rotate, so he's not going to be able to make a direct push against them like that, but that's not really the threat from achieved at the minute. He's just going to keep himself in train for the time being. He'll have a little walk around. If he can get any information, he'll look to deploy that vertical threat, and it's something that we've seen him use very well so far, Des.
Somewhat surprised as well, because I spoke about the expected setup of being this cigar shop hold, very what we're used to seeing when you have the Castle and the Aruni on side. It has not been their go-to focus, instead opting to play a little more defensively. So keeping a close eye on where they've deployed all that utility will be key. That's a big shot from Merc to kick things off there. Sexy Cake had no idea what was hitting him.
Merc just looking to get another angle through into the cigar shop, and that is a real pixel peak there, but Palu's going to actually dip away from that challenge, looking to front up to the mirror, which we will see dropped. Now then, shots do start to rain in on each other, but Palu's going to dip away from that one, losing about 26 HP. He will live to fight another day. I think we've got a man just looking to push into that window. Nesk certainly is. He's on the sledge looking to get himself onto cocktail balcony. We've got Geo down. There's been a lot of attention behind that mirror window. 40 seconds left to go, and we're effectively 4 versus 4.
Another one coming singing back in. They really want to finish Geo off here and secure the kill, but in comes Nesk, I believe, on the north side. He gets down by Chalet. They've pushed in to try and collapse things out, but TSM have absolutely slapped Liquid into the dirt in round 1 with a closing C4.
Achieved underneath. I called him out, Des, when he went down there. I said he'd been successful so far with the Nitros and proving his lethality from underneath once again there as he manages to close out the round for TSM with a big explosive kill and a big explosive start, coming in with a flawless round. Message sent to Team Liquid. The question is it message received?
Well, I thought for a second once we saw the nade come from Nesk and landing onto Geo in the Maestro spot behind where the mirror window formerly was. I believe he got underneath and shot that out. And then thought he'd maybe stay below and try and nade the player, but no, instead opted to go up onto the new window and throw the nade in, got the down but didn't finish it off. Naughty couple of shots coming out of Merc in the round 2, but one of them ones where as soon as it came around to the execution time, Liquid were just not ready for TSM's preparation, I think. You commented on the C4. No one contested him from below. And in fact, in the previous series, we were commenting on how good between NIP and MIBR the vertical play was. We need to see that shine for both of these teams here. TSM starting out with it looking absolutely fantastic.
Yep, you can't just leave Achieved alone underneath like that on the mid floor, because that's exactly what's going to happen effectively, and it was well played from TSM. You know, it may be, I won't call it impactless, but you know, it wasn't a round-changing kill. It was 5v1 at that point, and he got the last man, but it certainly could have been round-changing, and so Team Liquid, they need to sharpen up on that roam clear. As you said, it's a bit of a strange one. We've seen it for the last couple of days where teams are just not really paying attention to the floors. They're just going for completely lateral pushes and not looking at those vertical options, and we've seen them be hurt by it time and time again. Oxygen yesterday playing against TSM, Bolo managing to have a massive impact on the kitchen site from trains, and just nothing really done about it. So Team Liquid, they need to focus on those roamers, make sure that they're clearing, in this case for kitchen, top down, clear everybody down. Even if you just force all 5 back to site, that's absolutely fine. You just know you're not going to get hit from above.
Thought Sexy Kate was going to do a bolo there. Remember yesterday? The drone on Clubhouse? Throws it up in the air, comes crashing down back off the platform, and you were like, no, he can't have this happen to him.
Why are you doing him like that, Des? It was one time. Ball's on 176 kills at Invitational, and the one time he throws a drone straight up in the air and misses his ledge, that's what you remember.
I remember you just being really disappointed, and I never want Ace to be disappointed. So
it's more because how many times I do it, and I know how frustrating it is when you've got to get off the rappel now. But
it's all good.
He starts us off with a kill, and Geo joins the party. One onto Nest there. Not a good start for Team Liquid on that roam clearance that I said they needed. The defenders certainly having the run of them at the minute, but PSK, we saw some big moments from him on Clubhouse a couple of days ago, getting big 1v3 clutches, and his team are going to need that sort of performance from him again. He manages to get in and get one onto Geo, so that's going to level us down to 4 versus 3, but still in favour of TSM at the minute. Halfway through the round, and Liquid just look a little bit out of ideas about these top floor roamers at the minute.
Jesus, I remember about a week ago we were saying for Merc and Achieve, we had to see them hitting some naughty shots. It couldn't just be Bolo doing all the hard lifting, and my God, are they delivering so far. At the start, it was a C4 from Achieve in the previous round. Merc with some great shots, finally gets shut down by Sexy Kate, but with 60 seconds to go, Tim, they've removed all the vertical threat. The sledge is gone here. Maybe you're looking towards the breaching rounds and breaching charges and thinking maybe they can do us some work, but all that prep work and an execute still to come. TSM can just sit back and wait for it here. I don't think there's any big, stress on their side to make anything chaotic happen. Just let Liquid come to you.
It's a perfect roam game, effectively. They've wasted 2 minutes, they've killed 3 men, and they've managed to get back to site with 3 alive. It really is, short of getting back with all 5 alive, it's about as good as it gets from a roam, especially here on Kafe. So well played to TSM. They're just going to turtle up now for the last 30 seconds, hold their angles, and wait for this push to come now. Sexy Cake, he looks to move in. He's done well so far. What a pre-fire he finds on to Achieve, but it doesn't matter. They're losing the war of attrition here, Des, as Palu is finished off. There comes the final single kill from Bolo. He finished things as well as he started them, and that's going to be round 2 going to TSM, and Palu looking for that kill record. I'm sure it's not on his mind, but he hasn't managed to get a single kill yet, Des.
Well, Bolo on the other side must have heard us say 176 kills. He's got some work to do to catch up. Has stepped up and collected himself a good few across the first 2 rounds. Looking limited so far for Liquid, only finding a couple of kills in the first 2. TSM, and this is my concern coming into this map, they are no strangers to Kafe. It's not like you picked a map that you're already hot on and the other team always bans away. You've taken them to one of their home maps, and I really hope we don't get to the end of this series staring down the barrel of a 2-0 saying, oh, the map choice for Liquid wasn't quite as strong as it could have been. I'm very confident they've come into this with some plans, with some counter strats. Maybe they've got something special to show on the defense, but the first 2 rounds from TSM really giving Liquid something to think about in terms of how they deal with the roamers and the aggression coming out of TSM.
Opening kills so far going to Merc and Bolo, both on the side of TSM, obviously. So, again, they're getting into these rounds well, getting themselves established and playing from a position of advantage, from a weight of numbers. And Team Liquid, that for me is one thing they need to stop here. They need to get in there, get those opening kills. They've got 2 of the best entry fraggers in the world, Des. They've got Nesk and Palu in there. Get them in, get them hitting the shots, get them opening things up for you so that you can start to bully TSM. That is what the Latin American side will be looking for.
Quick reho's coming in here as well. No doubt a bit of much needed time for the side of Liquid to have a conversation around how they'll tackle this aggressive roam game coming out. I'd expect in the next round we will step into the reading site for TSM, which, as we tend to see, starts with the defense on the top floor, and you fall back as and how time bleeds down and the attackers get more and more aggressive. You have that hatch that you can drop into utility and get yourself back on site pretty comfortably. So that's what we're looking out for TSM, is how much time can they waste, and arguably how many men can they bring down, because on the roam in that previous round the answer was 3. That's a very valuable roam if I've ever seen one, Tim.
It was really well played from TSM, particularly Merc up on the top floor. He kept himself alive so long into the round, and the thing is, at that point, he was cut off. He had Palu underneath him. Liquid pretty much had 50% of the floor underneath him in their control. He would have had to move all the way over and get himself to dining to have any hope of getting back to site, which was the route that the others took. But he didn't. He knew he didn't need to. He thought, I'm just going to play my life here. Ultimately, Sexicate was able to take him down, but it was just wasting more and more time, and as you say, picking up plenty of bodies along the way. So well played from TSM, and I'm sure there'll be a collective sigh of relief at the moment from the North American fans, Des, as we come into this, and TSM, not only are they looking competitive, they're looking dominant at this point in time. They are the last hope outside of Latin America, and I know there's a lot of expectation weighted on them at the minute.
Expectation is probably the one way to look at it, not just for NA, but I imagine EU are also looking at this saying, come on, surely LATAM isn't that dominant, right? Right? As tears start rolling down their cheeks, or just in the accepting of the new world that we step into. The age of LATAM is the only way I can describe it. But TSM, as we keep on saying, look to provide a bit of a threat to that. Frost being brought along by Bolo. So they are bringing along the mirror still, but are also now stepping into shield territory. Something, again, that we saw quite a lot from teams like BDS, I think of when I think of Europe. Interestingly, going for the reinforce onto the storage wall here. So rather than having the normal, when you're defending upstairs here, you'll leave this left set completely soft. The ones back towards the right-hand side, you double reinforce and basically make an iron wall down the right-hand side of bar. So it's really hard to step forward. You're forced to consume through a bunch of the Hibana pellets, for example, to get things open. But it looks for now like TSM are going to play maybe a little bit closer. They've got the shield playing on Freezer. They've got one playing inside a bathroom. No doubt they'll set something up inside of storage too, probably another shield. This is a really aggressive hold, and you don't often see teams going this deep and this committed to a defense on the top floor. Absolutely
not. We'll see where those frost mats are located as well. There's one there, Des. There's one in behind the cigar shop counter. We've seen it already snag attacking legs, and it's just one of those. For some reason, time after time, people hop over that desk and go straight into it. As I've said, at this level, it's quite often because the players are in ADS looking as Palu is right now. You can see you lose a lot of that vision on your screen by making sure that you're ready to take those fights, and we do see those frost mats just managing to snap shut on unsuspecting legs quite often at the minute now. Achieved. He's on red stairs. I think he's aware that he's got one above him potentially. It's Palu who is looking to make his way down, but for the time being there is a floor that separates them. There's two individual sort of half staircases he'd have to go down before they were to butt heads. Now Moringa puts a nade into the piano room, but Not much progress from Liquid here. They're playing this very, very carefully about the top floor roam, and it's no surprise after the last time.
I was just about to say, completely understandable after how hard TSM have pressed them in the first couple of rounds. And here it's about the information game. The Iana's going to help with that, no doubt. At least on their side, they've got him below already, so choosing to circumvent the top floor entirely and just say, hey, can we get around them here and maybe go for fireplace? If you start going towards reading, you're going to have a lot of faff upstairs coming in from vertical pressure. But we're here on the downstairs. Surely the call must come in now because Chalet, sat behind this mirror window, can do so much untold damage. He's got a C4 in pocket to throw out if a plant attempt does try to come through that fireplace wall. So no doubt TSM are going to be communicating this down. There will be a little bit of rotation. Those on the top floor might look to try and move themselves out ever so slightly. For Liquid, it's making sure no one's going to rotate and flank them out so they can try and make a play happen, and enough pressure being put into reading that a free rotate isn't going to be a thing for them. I heard that snap. You heard that leg break, Ace. A sound you are all too familiar with, my friend.
It's almost as if, Des, I know which of those frostbats tend to catch people out. And that will be the one behind the cigar counter.
There's been 3 or 4 of those at SI that have got people.
It's every time. I don't know what it is about that one, but Neski's going to find one on to achieve. Team Liquid have got themselves a man advantage here. They need to press forward for me. Keep TSM under pressure. Don't let them set themselves here. Try and find another kill. Just double down on the pressure. There it is, Moringa with the nade onto Chalet, and this is looking like a good round for Team Liquid now. They can really start just applying pressure and just driving TSM deep into the site so that Sexy Kate can get that plant down. It's going to be Palu to finish things off. Headshot onto Bolo will finish the round. I'm just getting distracted by the shouts I can hear in the background. The Latin American teams have all been very, very noisy so far.
I'm sure the fine people at home can hear it through our microphones as well, because the venue we're in case you haven't been able to discern from the camera shots that you've had so far.
It's absolutely beautiful.
It's pretty massive as well, Tim, is the way I can look at it. You've got this one main central hall. We've got a dug back alcove where we are for production and casting. There's room upstairs and everything bounces up. But the sound, it just drowns out the venue. 5 people, 6 people screaming. Who knew? Could make so much noise. But I love what Liquid did in that round. We commented on it at about the 1 minute 40 left mark. We said they've really slowed things down here. They aren't going as fast as they were looking to. The pace has been kind of drawn back to play this more considered approach. One that's built on information, one that isn't built on going hyper aggressive. And I love especially how they didn't take the kind of trodden path of saying, well, we've got to clear top floor first. They said, let's go and get some fireplace control. Let's threaten train. So at the very least, it forces TSM to start having to move and rotate the positions they're playing in, and then chose to go for reading anyway for the most part. Really good attack by Liquid, good adaptation. TSM now are the ones who've got to think of something special. However, we do get to go back to the 2 sites they have won, which is the top floor and the kitchen first. And as I always love to say, Ace, why fix what ain't broken? It's going to be that mirror playing inside a bathroom once again.
Yeah, it'll be largely sort of rinse and repeat here. I think we'll have Bolo on the Jaeger move into washroom before this prep phase is done. He'll get his ADSs down. He's got his mirror window. He'll have the Aruni sewer gate to keep him safe. And he's going to look to challenge into Piano and just prevent them from getting any access. Now, there's an addition of a castle this time. I don't think that was
No, they did, but they didn't play it in Cigar. Then I said at the time, I thought, oh, Aruni and Castle,
right.
Surely they go for a setup when the mute as well. You would assume, as anyone would, they're going to play in Cigar, but no. What they're actually completely doing here is blocking off bathroom door, blocking off the white corridor window, and just saying, look, if you really want to nade this guy out of bathroom, it's going to take a fair bit of commitment.
Instead, it usually leads to teams just being driven inside Piano and having to make that direct challenge. And when you're trying to do that onto a player with a mirror window in front of them, it is significantly dangerous because, of course, they have full visual of you before you can see them. Now, Sexy Cake just getting that drone in. A lot of mute jammers in and around that area, an awfully large area being covered out there, and just not preventing him from seeing what's going on, but just providing a little bit of distortion. Now then, Achieved Des. He's underneath again. I'm going to call him out here. Achieved is underneath. Team Liquid need to go and find him and deal with him.
They are trying. Paolo's making a second go of it, actually. Second drone coming out, probably to go towards the same place to its death. But look again, it's going to be another mid-round rotate potentially coming out from Liquid. Rather than trying to push their way through the top floor, they are moving a couple out to this white window. They've spotted the castle barricade and think, what valuable goodies are waiting behind here? Gone 6, popped on it. Now we can start seeing the pressure coming through. Got to burn through. Oh my god, there's ADSs as well. They've got the laser gate, they've got the castle barricade, they've got ADSs, they've got seemingly everything. First grenade comes out and catches one, and that should be the indication that you need to step away from this mirror window. You can see now why they committed so much to it, but there comes the C4 Ace. It's almost like you're a magic man and you are telling us what's going to happen in this trick.
Achieved once again, able to get that vertical kill from underneath Liquid, unable to deal with him. Bolo manages to escape his washroom and find himself a kill regardless of that mirror window being taken out, leaving us 5 versus 3, and TSM are cruising towards another defensive victory here. There could be a challenge coming on to Bolo. No! Palu finds the freest headshot of the day that he will get as Bolo just goes onto those cams at the wrong moment. Palu taking full advantage of that. 4 versus 3 though still to TSM. The washroom is now cleared out. They have access to freezer and bar back storage. This is not bad for Team Liquid, Des. Palu finds another, and that hits the kill record for him. 197 kills inside of SI 2021. It is the most by any player at a 6 Invitational.
Might not be enough for them to win the round, mind you, here. Oh, the trade coming out almost onto Palu, gets C4'd out. That's 2 C4 kills in the round for TSM. We said between Liquid and TSM, we love seeing what they can do. Moringa finding 2 out of nowhere, the 1 versus 1. 5 seconds to play. Does he know where Merc is? I think he does. He's in bathroom. He's going to swing on it, but Merc wins it out with the super shorty of all things. Was he out of ammo or something? Okay, I mean, we'll take it. It's a round win, but it's not one that I'm used to seeing get kills, that's for sure.
Whatever gets it over the line, Des. Whatever gets the job done. Who are we to ask those questions? Round closed out for round number 4. That's going to be TSM taking another successful defense. 3-1 their lead now.
I really love what we're seeing here. The proof that we've spoken about so many times over SI is, as of last year, many would have said, oh, LATAM, really aggressive region, very mechanically skilled. And we have said, until we are blue in the face, that we've seen not just Liquid, but LATAM as a whole develop into a much more strategical, coordinated region. And I think you're seeing it shine here, where a lot of teams will get stalled out into TM's defense and just, you know, run into the blender here of a great setup. The adaptation from Liquid, they spot, okay, there's a mirror window, there's laser gates, there's the castles, we need to rotate 2 members onto white, clear that out, get the nades in, push someone inside, contest onto white, but not do so stupidly to the level that we just die. You had Palu come pushing in through piano once that mirror window was removed and take his second near pixel kill of the round. That one was easily onto Bolo because he was on cams, but prior to that, at the start of the round, it was achieved down a very narrow angle looking down red stairs that he unfortunately didn't manage to collect. But I love how we're seeing these attacks coming together. It's proactive, it's solid. For TSM, there's excellent defenses coming out here as well, some that I haven't really seen before. It's just fascinating to watch, and it's what you want to see teams throw on the line when it comes around to such an important game.
I can't help but think back to the map banning phase, Des. You know, we look at Chalet, we've seen how good TSM are on there, and then we look at Team Liquid bringing them to Kafe to begin with. I think we just had a technical issue within the game there. There was a little bit of chat in between.
Love that. Fist bump for the rehost, boys.
Fist bump for the rehost. Keep that energy going. I think, you know, I'm looking at that map ban phase. And as you said, Kafe has been the favourite map of TSM inside NAL. They've played plenty of it, which, yes, means Team Liquid can come into this with a lot of information. But right now, Des, that information is not really paying dividends. It's not turning into rounds on the scoreboard. And going into Chalet, which has been picked by TSM, we've seen them be really dominant on that map so far. It does give me some concerns for Team Liquid and their future in the 6 Invitational at this point in time. There is, you know, a real timeline there where TSM, if they run away with Kafe here, could be looking at that map ban and thinking, you know, we had this handed to us.
That's my fear again. I said at the very start that I was concerned we might be having that conversation if it goes at 2-0. If we get onto Oregon, could be a very different conversation. TSM haven't really played that map. They ban it away more than it is banned against them. They've played it twice in the last 5 months or so. Once against the Sonics, they lost. Once against BDS, and they won 7-4 on a BDS map as well, which is the wild thing about it. But fair to say, they don't exactly look uncomfortable there. Clubhouse, the only map that they ban away seemingly consistently, and that's not even involved in the picks. So heaven knows how it breaks out. Players are already back up again, so should be getting back in just a second. Ladies and gents, round number 5 will be what we step into, and TSM looking good in their defensive half. But I will say that bit at the very end again, their defensive half, Tim. How many times this tournament have we got to 6 rounds? It's been 5-1, 4-2, and the other team just completely flips the game on their head.
And this is why, this is why I asked the map ban question with caution. There is a lot of siege to be played yet. This one is far from done. And I'm sure that there are players on the side of Team Liquid, as we well know, that are going to have their say before things are said and done. They're certainly not going to go quietly. TSM will not have this all their way. Now, we're going to be heading back in. It's going to be towards round 5. This time we will be going to kitchen and service, as TSM, they won this back in round 2. I think, to be honest with you, Des, they'll be quite happy to just follow the same trend. As you say, if they can get the win here, finish 4-2 on the half, not the end of the world.
I'm keen to see if it's a different setup, because they've got less focus, by the looks of it at least, on these roaming operators. Previously, they had a good number out on the roam, if you remember, and got 3 kills in the early round. We barely ever saw anything to do with Kitchen as the round kind of progressed, whereas for Liquid, knowing there is a Bandit on the other side, has 6 picked into the Maverick to help them get that Bandit wall open. Of course, can burn through even electrified walls, unlike Habana, who may struggle, especially when the Thatcher is banned away. Your only real option then would be to get upstairs and gain vertical control inside of mining and train with, say, the sledge and pop some things out from above. Realistically, you need that vertical control anyway, so maybe it was an option to them, but they just said, forget about it. We want the Maverick here. We want the option to go direct, because as we've seen from their attacks so far, they like this flexibility in being able to change in the mid-round.
Merc, you won't catch him out with that one, using the technique that I spoke about the other day there, Des, where he's just stepped back from the barricade as he's hit it. If you get the distance right, you don't smash the glass, so it's much less obvious that there is a panel of the barricade knocked out. But Team Liquid having absolutely none of that. They don't care whether that glass is smashed or not. They are well aware of Merc's position. They put a couple of bullets in, scare him away, and he's going to just drift away into the rest of that top floor to try and make a challenge later in the round. Now, it's going to be a top-down clearance once again. It didn't go well for them last time, Des. It's not going well for them this time as Merc opens things up with a headshot onto Moringa. There's a live ping there, but he's long gone, Des. He's turned on his heels. He's run. There's absolutely no way he's going to get caught out. Nesk, he's going to have to chase him across this top floor and try to close the man down. But once again, this top floor clearance, the roam clear from Team Liquid, it's been a real problem for them.
The commentary mainly is around the drones. It was only then as we switched away at the last second from Nest that we finally...
That is
great. I was going to say the drones haven't been in front of them until at the very end of when we switched away from Nest. He had one at his feet. That's playing off a live drone there. The defenders, as soon as they see a drone, they're going to shoot it and they're going to run. That's one of the more neutral objectives, I think, for Aroma to try and achieve, is to kill off utility early, namely towards those drones. If you die in that process, that's not a great roam. They have found 1-for-1 though. They've now conceded control of the top floor and everyone is back on site. So for Liquid, you now start thinking, all right, 1:30 left. This is the time you want to start swinging that sledgehammer into the ground, getting the vertical angles opened up and start thinking about how you're going to execute onto the site.
Sesicate just looking for a quick exit there. He's going to drop down to the bakery double door while Nesk starts to open things up. As you've said, Des, he's going to try and get some vertical angles, see if he can put those nades to use and just move these defenders round inside. Gio, he looks to make the challenge. You got to remember, those vertical holes work both ways. Gio's got a nitro in hand as well, so Nesk really does need to be careful now. Drops the nade in there. That's just going to slow things down for the time being. Gio cannot push back onto him to make another challenge, and so chooses to just take his seat, his position back in kitchen there. He's going to play on the grill for the time being and just try to hold back this sort of tirade, this real onslaught at the minute that's coming in from above from Team Liquid.
The thing is, Sexy Kate's downstairs opening the wall. He's still got 2 frag grenades in his back pocket and no drone work to do as he lost both of those very early on in the round inside the first 60 seconds or so. So I'm looking to see what he can do with them. One comes out there deployed further back, doesn't catch out onto anyone. Second one comes through as well. This is when he can push in now and start thinking about the plant, because all of TSM have been forced further back, Ace. There's going to be an absolute bloodfest here in the final 10 seconds or so.
Sexy Kate watching the angle until the only moment that it mattered, and that was when Achieve stepped up and got his kill. Bolo on a late flank manages to find a double with a headshot onto Palu. Chalet shuts down Nesk, and that's going to be another successful round for TSM, and it's another round as where you just feel like Team Liquid never really had a handle on where all of those TSM players were.
The drones on the top floor we commented on. They were quite slow in coming out. 2 died from the Maverick earlier on, and they couldn't get one in time to stop Merc picking off one of the attacking team members. TSM just getting up in the face of TSM constantly, and so you can understand why Liquid have now called a tactical timeout and need a conversation. You go into the second half 5-1 down, that pressure is on. It's going to take a couple of good rounds from TSM and the map's done. You go into Chalet, one of their stronger maps, and suddenly you're thinking, crap, have we made a bad choice here with this draft? Heaven knows, but I love for TSM that they're living up to the I suppose the story that a few coaches I spoke to in NA really set for them said these are the most structured, aggressive team that we have in North America, or were a few months ago. I think fair to say it still holds today. Against BDS yesterday, a masterclass in how to defend Oregon and how to play as a team, off one another, not play individually. It was beautiful to see. Sexy Cake, not so beautiful to see there. Looks a little bit angry with that furrowed brow as well, slamming the desk. He knows that things are not going down the way that these boys planned coming into it. And that dream, like you say, for Nesk to finally win his first world title is slowly slipping away if things carry on this way.
They need to rein it in. They need to rein it in soon. The last thing they want to do is go to Chalet and map down, because the pressure is really going to be on there with that being TSM's pick. Looking at Bolo today, Des, he is having a bit of a flyer at the minute, just picking the right moments to aggress, to get in there, to just really mix up that Team Liquid attack and to take advantage of those holes, especially after there's been a kill or two in the round.
I'll give a lot to Merc on this as well. Like, Bolo's the one getting the kills in the mid to late round, but Merc consistently is there as one of the first men. It's him looking to take the gunfights, but on the other side, it's achieved with the C4s. Those two are players that I came into this whole tournament and said, these boys are painting shadows around people. They're missing so many crucial shots and bleeding away on the entry. It's why they lost a couple of games in groups. But since playoffs have started, I think after I said that actually was the game where Achie stepped up on Coastline and got 11 kills in 3 rounds. And I was like, oh, suddenly you can hit the target and not just draw a line around them. They're both stepping up massively. Currently top 3 rated along with Bolo, who's in second. We've praised Gio an awful lot this tournament, but now I think it's time to really celebrate what Merc and Achieved are doing along with Bolo.
Bolo so far on 7 kills today, which puts him on 183 as we stand within the tournament. Nesk came into this game on 185. Des, he's got 3 in the game so far, so he's on 188. So Bolo really starting to close that gap between him and Nesk. He's a little bit further behind Palu. He's going to take a little bit more catching, but Bolo's certainly up there with the top players in the world and showing exactly why in this meeting between TSM and Team Liquid at the minute.
There is a technical pause on the go once more, as you can see in this case. I think it was a tactical timeout that then led into a rehost, which is why it's ever so slightly longer. It's not a big deal. Again, it gives maybe a bit of time for Liquid to have these conversations about ways to address it. We say here from behind the screens, oh, it's easy to see. You know, Liquid are a little bit cautious. They were initially a bit too fast. They've then become too cautious, and TSM are enjoying abusing the dying 10, 20 seconds of a round, picking up kills off Liquid's limited information. They've got to be having a good conversation now, because this is the time to think, right, we need to do something here, because again, if it doesn't go right now, you're going into Chalet, a very strong TSM map, the one that TSM have picked, and you start asking big questions. Because also, think about it on Chalet. Do you go into that and say we start on the defensive side like most teams would? It's an attacker-leaning map right now. Do you really want to give TSM the start and attack on Chalet?
This is it. There's difficult choices ahead for Team Liquid at the minute, and they need to find a way, Des. They're a team who can. We know that. They're a team that are absolutely brimming with passion to win every game of Siege that they step into, and the 6 Invitational just puts a magnifying glass on top of that and just really does drive them forward. You could feel it yesterday in that huge game that they played. They were so desperate to win and so elated when they got it over the line. But heading into round 6, they really need this attack for me, Des. This is the site again that they got last time around. This is the one site that they've won on so far on attack. Reading Room and Fireplace. They did extremely well, to be fair. They got themselves 2 early kills. They got control not only over top floor, but part of the mid floor as well. And it was just a case of waiting for TSM to move into their lines of sight at that point. So they need to replicate that. They need to get this 2-4 before they go on to the defense.
If there's anything to be happy about as a Liquid fan right now, it is 4-1, but we're going on to the one site that Liquid came out the victor on previously. Their aggression was much snappier in that round. I thought they knew how to capitalize on TSM's confusion as they were being scattered by man after man. We spoke and commended about Liquid's ability to rotate as well. They dropped off trying to assault Reading from above and said, look, forget about running into this iron wall being set up by TSM out towards the east of the top floor. Drop into train and go for a bit of pressure inside a Fireplace just to make TSM nervous, and then we can start pressuring Reading at the same time. It was really good to see that kind of multifaceted attack, something that we commended both NIP and MIBR for in their last game. It really feels like a breath of fresh air, I think, to see coming out of LATAM, these multifaceted attacks that leave the defenders a little bit confused and and scattered as to what's going on.
Absolutely, a lot of pressure being applied to the top floor from TSM once again. They really did invest heavily on the top floor last time around, but it didn't really do the job for them. This time Achieved is downstairs on the Kaid. He will no doubt have a Nitro in hand, which he does, and we've seen already how lethal he can be. He's had himself 2 kills to date with the vertical Nitros, and he's no doubt going to look to wait for his opportunity. He's just playing on the brown stairs at the minute, which gives him a nice opportunity to just rotate up to pillars, even challenge right up onto the top floor, onto this new hatch. Ness needs to be careful and is so. Just playing anywhere around here because there is lines of sight up onto this hatch that Achieve could easily move into.
I want to touch on the fact as well that TSM have all 5 opening kills so far. Liquid haven't found a single one going their way, and coming into the fixture, it was a +6 and a +7 coming in for the 2 big names on the side of Liquid in Palu and Nesk. Where are they to be seen right now? The question apparently, well, the answer, sorry, is not really anywhere. We've seen the pushes coming in and the odd kill coming across for a member or 2, but it definitely hasn't been consistent in terms of who's stepping up. In fact, the highest rating so far in the game, Nesk. What's his scoreline? 3 and 4. The highest number of kills any individual member has got is 3. On the other side for Merc and Bolo, both sat on 7. There needs to be work to be done for Liquid.
There does. The droning work is being done, that much we know for sure, as Moringa sends down the Gemini clone just to see what can be uncovered on the bottom floor. He may well find himself bumping into Achieved. I'm not sure whether Team Liquid are aware of his presence or not at the minute. PSK, he's going to be looking to continue that top floor roam clear on the Nomad, just to try and make sure there's nobody present now.
I love this, by the way.
It's great,
look at this.
Isn't it?
He's got the one upstairs already, and then he can trick from below. So now you should see him pull out the Electro Claw, chuck one up. Beautiful. Love it. This should get these off the wall. Oh, you're going to lose all 12. Oh, the pain. There's 12 Excaliburs to cry at once.
And that says is once again because Achieved has not been found underneath and dealt with.
They've got such big brains, Ace. I love it. This is beautiful Siege. It's sad as a Liquid fan, but seeing all the things that TSM are bringing, even Liquid on the attacks and their adaptations, I'm loving every second of it. Finally, Ness steps up. That's breaking the entry chain.
There we go.
And Pala steps up as well. The 2 of them come in one after the other. That's what we wanted to see to get Liquid back into the game. 40 seconds to play. So much time has been wasted though, Ace. Something needs to happen now. Moringa steps up with a nade. 5 versus 2. And Liquid should be in commanding position to get that second round that we said they needed. There it is. It's almost a flawless, but Bolo gets the trade back, and Gio's left entirely alone up on the top floor here to try and prevent this coming in. With 20 seconds to play, there is no excuse for Liquid to lose this round.
Absolutely not. PSK starts to move into sight. He has diffuser in hand and will look to get the plant down. Very unlikely that there's anything Gio will be able to do to prevent that as he drops the hatch, shut down. I think the plant was barely confirmed as Palu got that final kill, but once again a warning shot for Team Liquid. Achieved likes to play underneath. You gotta go in there, you gotta root him out. He's not waiting for a flank, he's playing on the vertical every time. 2 C4 kills. We've had the Electroclaw applied, taking out 12 X-Kairos pellets. You gotta deal with him.
You look like a parent that's just told their kid for the 10th time not to stick the fork in the plug socket. You look absolutely livid. Or moulding is the word we can use, since you're like a parent. Let's just use that kind of word. It was a great round coming out for Liquid. It goes to show, if nothing else, though, Achieve did have excellent vertical play.
It's great from him. Oh, absolutely yeah. Brilliant.
TSM played that round strategically very well, but like we said on our desk earlier on, this is an FPS game. You come in here and you can click heads faster than they can, you're going to win the round. Your plays in between that really are just giving you a greater advantage in those gunfights when it comes into it. That is Siege in a nutshell. It's an FPS game where everything that happens around it influences the outcome of those gunfights, or in some cases, stops them from happening altogether with things like C4s, nades, the timer, whatever else you want to look at it for. For Liquid, good to see they are alive and beating. If you had just tuned in and saw it at 4 and 2, you'd say, no, I've kind of expected that TSM would take 4 rounds on defense. I don't think that paints the full picture. TSM have looked prolific, but they need to show that they can do it on more than just defense, that it can also now bleed into the attack.
TSM they deserve everything they've got so far. They've won the rounds fantastically well. I comment on Achieved, it comes across as frustration that Liquid aren't dealing with it. But equally, I love what Achieved has done there. He's just said, you know what? they're never dealing with me underneath. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to get every single bit that we can get out of it. And it's fantastic play
Milk the cow,
from TSM. Absolutely. If somebody is going to give you something for free, you step in there and take it. And I love to see it from Achieved. So we will see whether that is the trend that continues as this goes on now that we've moved into the second half here and Team Liquid are on the defense. They are taking us to bathroom to begin, down to kitchen to begin with. And we've got Moringa on the smoke. He's getting aggressive here, Des. I'm just a little bit concerned for those Toxic Babe canisters. Needs to be careful he doesn't overexpose himself.
Well, here we go. The push comes in. They pop one through inside of Prep, and Sexy Cake, he does better. Gets the headshot onto Bolo. And with these two members dug in, my God, they could hold here for a long while. They need to get a grenade in. Great grenade onto Sexy Cake. Down he goes to Achieved. And with that broken open, now they can start thinking about stepping in. But then the next line of defense steps up for Liquid. It's Moringa with these smoke canisters. We've wasted about 75 seconds dancing around the bakery entrance so far. I wonder how much longer they can hold on for.
Moringa needs to be careful he doesn't get himself caught out. The mute jammer is essential at the minute because that rotation hole is off to the side of the hard reinforcement, the reinforcement being the only thing that allowed him to rotate back into sight there. Now Merc is on very low health on the Maverick, does the right thing. He needs to get in and get these reinforcements off immediately. Moringa, he's going to put that Toxic Babe canister out there, and I tell you what, it'll only take one sniff of that stuff for Merc to be gone, so he needs to be very careful. There's one more canister left for Moringa. If he could get this kill before the Maverick can finish opening the wall. No! Merc gets in there and gets it done. That is a victory, a small one for TSM as Sledge is now able to open the soft wall.
Got any nades? Oh, Chief would have maybe had something on that one, but Ness brings him down first, and with no nades left on Merc, they can't nade the player out from sticking in. Moringa's in a key spot. They've got a player upstairs as well. It feels like Liquid have got all the tools to hold on in this round, but again, gunfights. If TSM can step in and win them, you just don't know which way the round can go. One on the near side as well. The pixel, the number of times we've seen this kind of stuff where they're a couple of pixels away from each other. It's absolutely killer. There's another one from Ness. They've really woken up into this. Charla stepping up and getting his first one since the rehost 2. Geo's down inside of Pratt. This is going to be a Liquid round, and suddenly you're looking at 4 and 3 and thinking, actually, Liquid could go on to take this quite comfortably.
PSK has really broken this attack with that vertical kill there. It was 2 versus 3 and there was an opportunity, but absolutely not after PSK took down Geo. Moringa it is to find that last kill onto Charla. And Des, I've got to ask the same question. I don't know why I'm asking it again. TSM, you've pushed in completely laterally to kitchen. You've not dealt with mid-floor, top floor at all. PSK waits there for 2 minutes before he becomes really effective inside of the round there. Kill onto Geo, and it sends them into a 3v1, and it's pretty much round done at that point.
It's almost like it's a decision by the teams to say, we're not going to focus with the roam clear this time round, we're just going to go straight for site. And you can kind of get away with it. You win the vertical challenge inside of Prep, suddenly it's not so problematic to deal with the vertical. I
don't think we've seen him get away with it yet, Des.
No, not yet. I mean, admittedly, after that one round, absolutely not. Whereas you compare it to Liquid on their attack, they had that vertical clear. They had the pressure being applied from above and didn't always work out for them on either of their attacks. Actually on Kitchen, they only really won on the reading and the fireplace defenses, but it was the chance it was giving them to have that vertical control to try and restrict what was coming in from the defensive side. Let's see how things shape up now that we go into reading and fireplace. As things are starting, nothing really worth shouting home about. We're not seeing a castle setup coming in, for example, but we are seeing a Mute and a Mozzie.
Up on the top floor then, the setup continues here from Team Liquid. I'm sure that they are going to be very happy with how that round has just gone, and given the performance so far, this is... It doesn't really paint a true picture for me. TSM was so dominant on their defense that now to only have a 1-round lead, this is not going to be easy, Des, because TSM, let's think, the mental game starts to kick in. They've come in and really dominated, and now they're 1 round ahead. They're just 1 round ahead.
That's it. That's how tight it's coming down.
That's tough to take. You were 4-1 up. I think it was 4-1. It was 4-1, and now you're 1 round ahead. And they are going to start feeling like, hang on a minute, Team Liquid have woken up here. They're starting to reel us back in.
Again, it's like one of those things where, it's what I always say, I love looking at stats, but I love the story of a round. What actually happened in the round was one team just far better at hitting shots, was the other much more on a level when it came to the strategy. Isn't the other team really slow when it came to their attacks and left everything for the final 5 seconds, and that's why they lost? They're the kind of things that you miss sometimes when you just look back at a scoreline of a match, because the story behind this one so far has been absolutely phenomenal. Let's see what Sexy Kate can do holding up on the top floor, though. In fact, I think it was from here we saw Kino get a 3K yesterday. C4, shotguns, you name it, he was winning them all. And I'm hoping Sexy Kate can do something similar here to bring us up to 4-4, because everyone wants this game to be tight and close, unless, of course, you are just hoping that TSM go through to the next round, in which case maybe it's not for you. Should maybe switch off now and stop watching.
Oh, Nesk, just a fraction of a second away from catching Bolo there, who will react extremely quickly to get that kill and take the Mozzie off the board. Sexy Kate coming under pressure as well. Intense pressure from Bolo, and we've seen him do it before, Des, from this exact window.
He was screaming, let me out, shooting the floor, and it just wouldn't break underneath him, so he took the shots from Bolo and ends up dead early in the round. 5 versus 3 for TSM. That's a great start, Bolo.
Perfect.
Taking it into his own hands, finding 2 kills. The question now steps in, can TSM close the round, or can Liquid hold fast?
I'm going to start calling that Bolo's window, because he's absolutely dominated from there on a number of occasions. It was at least 2 kills that he got, and an exact same rappel yesterday, and teams just don't seem to be picking up on it at the minute. But he continues to try and just punish them here as they move through. He's got himself onto a different position now. He's out on the east wall, but he's still just cutting off any rotates around that top floor. 5 versus 3, 40 seconds left to go. We are on a mid-floor site, of course. So TSM, they've now got that top floor control. They need to start thinking about vertical pressure and where is the diffuser going down.
What I always say about the clock, Ace, what does it become towards the final 30 seconds?
A bloodbath does.
No, I always say it becomes the 6th man for the defenders.
A bit of both.
Case, a bit of
Trust
both.
me, it's going to be a bit of both.
Depending on how many are alive, and I agree with you. 8 players left, 15 seconds to go. Oh, PSK, a huge flank.
He's going to get caught out. No, he sees him.
He sees the one. Does he know about the rest? Bolo reacts in time. A triple kill. Can he make it an ace? Oh my God, Moringa finds him. And he sprays down, but from above he's found him again. They scramble. TSM are doing all they can, but Palo is there to end the day. Round number 8 to Team Liquid. We've got a game
What are we witnessing here, Des? I called it. I just had a feeling that there was going to be a flurry of kills inside that last 20 seconds, and that's exactly what we got. They went back and forth. Bolo with a valiant effort in the middle of the round there to try and keep TSM in touch, but it wasn't enough as PSK and Parlu did the damage.
I like your definition better. A bloodbath, not the 6th man. At times it can become
Just had
the
a
6th
feeling,
man.
Des.
Oh, it's like a hand reached out and just said, here you go, PSK, just come up downstairs, buddy, that's it. And now absolutely clapping.
Who was playing on the Maverick? Was
it Moringa who was inside the site who got the 2. I don't know who was on the Maverick.
I think it was so unfortunate. He was up there on the cocktail balcony as PSK comes up the brown stairs, and he gets a line of sight on him for a second, but he just can't react quick enough, and you can feel the agony in it as he just gets taken down. Here we go. He's just not quick enough to get him. Oh, Moringa!
Even when Bolo's finding a triple, they had the vertical and then had to rush for this one. But Palu, like a good man, has always got his teammates back after he died 10 seconds prior, comes up the backside and shuts the round out. Absolutely beautiful from Palu. And 4-4, things are drawn even. That dominating conversation we had at the very start about TSM is clearly starting to fade away. As things are all equal, TSM going to call the tactical... You okay there, Ace?
This is what we wanted, Des. I was a little bit concerned at 4-1 that we were just going to get this landslide and go on to Chalet. I've no problem with TSM winning. I love the interregional aspect of it, you know, having those teams from different areas coming up against each other. It would be a shame to see the last team from NA go home, but what I didn't want was for it to just whimper out in a 7-1, 7-0 or something like that. What I wanted was an absolute clash for the ages, and that's what we're starting to get here.
Clash of Titans is the only way that we can describe it. And you and I joked a few times yesterday. I think on both maps we were at 2-2, weren't we? We said, oh, is overtime coming, Ace? And earlier on we wouldn't have been saying that, but now you're thinking either it goes one of 2 ways. It goes to overtime or
Why are you doing it, Des? Why are you doing it?
Because we love doing it, mate.
Why are you doing it?
We want overtime.
Overtime.
I really want to count afterwards. In fact, there is someone who is tracking stats. God bless you, whoever you are, good sir. I forget who it was. Who's been tracking how many overtime games we've had. I think, including yesterday, we're now at double digits.
We must be getting close. I think it was Boxer.
Yeah, wherever you are, your hero, if you let us know, that'd be glorious, or we can go and count it afterwards. It'll be a fun one to reflect on. But let's take a look at the round that we're stepping into. Third floor defense, the Mute and the Mozzie stepping back out once again with a shield deployed on the pixel angle at the end of white. Outside of that, you're looking towards the Maestro, the info gain coming out. Again, the differences in teams starting to shine here. A Maestro on one side. For TSM, it was 3 bulletproof cameras.
Let's just perch in behind the small bar there inside of Piano, looking to... He's got that barricade double knocked, and I'm just looking at that thinking, that's almost as if he wants to launch himself out of it. Now, he's not really going to get much of an opportunity to do any damage if he does, so I think for the time being he'll stay put. He's not going to have any information that will tell him that it's a good idea to do that. He may well have been listening for a repel or similar, but for the time being at least he won't get one unless somebody decides on the side of TSM to repel off the rooftop. Now, this is something that we've seen a number of times so far during this competition, Des. We can see that the X-Kairos pellets there are jammed on the wall by Mute Jammer. It's actually placed where Sexy Cake is. It's just underneath his feet there. It's just in front of him, in front of his feet. So then in comes the nade, clears off the Mute Jammer. The X-Kairos can be activated, and it gives access into Piano. And guess what? It does. It moves Nesk away. He can't stay in behind there. He has to dip away. He's going to... Looks like a little marathon switch there with Palu, as I think Palu moved off
relay race
to the map. It's a little relay race, exactly. As Nest takes over the spot on Pixel Corner, Palu dips back deeper into sight. So far, so good for Team Liquid.
I think Sexy Cake did want to commit towards getting that reinforcement on, but as soon as he hears a bullet, backs away straight away. Good play, you don't want to get yourself caught out in that one. But at least now TSM are aware there is a threat playing underneath them. For Liquid, a good start to back away. And look how much time has been wasted, Ace, as well. 1 minute and 50 seconds have passed, and they've only just about got control of top red. This is excellent time wasting coming out of Liquid. The same thing that we commended TSM for in the first half. This is what we want to see more of. The game's coming down to the absolute wire. As we go into the final 60 seconds, we need to see TSM get a bit more proactive and make something happen now. That shot coming out, Bolo misses it, and Palu kills him off, or finishes off, to say, with a C4. Good play from Team Liquid here on the defense, Des. They are starting to show us maybe why they wanted to take TSM to Kafe. They are confident that they can get this closed out, and if this continues, they will, for the first time in this matchup, take themselves the lead. They are 5-4 in terms of man count. Achieve dumps a nade out there. Sexy Kate looking to get aggressive, and this is when Team Liquid get particularly dangerous, Des. They're starting to get confident. You can see it in them. They're moving quickly. They're knocking out barricades. You could see Nesk behind that double hit barricade at the beginning of the round. Sexy Cake just forcing Achieved off the rappel there by threatening to peek, and that's when they become dangerous. 9 seconds left to go. Geo drops the hatch. Not much choice here as the kills start to rain in, but TSM fight back. There's 2 versus 2. Nesk, however, he gets one. Chalet tries with the pistol, but no, he won't find Nesk, who's lead prone in the bar back storage, and finds that final kill. It's looking scary for TSM. 3 on the bounce, now slowly bleeding away. And yes, it was a battle for Liquid in the first half, but they got the 2 rounds that set them up comfortably to start pulling ahead. Again, 3 rounds back to back on the defense. TSM yet to crack the shell open of Team Liquid. It's starting to feel like Liquid might be able to pull this map over, and then suddenly we step into Chalet and you start asking, can they beat TSM on another one of their popular maps?
Well,
got to get there first, Tim.
Throws question marks over the entire matchup, doesn't it? And that's what we love, Des. We love questions, we love question marks, we love puzzles and mysteries.
We love answers.
We love not knowing what's going to happen. That is what keeps this game as exciting as it is. So heading into round number 10 now. Team Liquid, they take the lead for the first time, Des. I think we're just going to have a short rehost here. We'll get the players out and back into the lobby as quickly as we can, and we'll get things underway again. Now, Team Liquid have taken 4 rounds in a row. This is becoming seriously problematic for TSM, and I'm sure that there are quite a few North American fans sat there right now chewing the fingernails down to the bone, just wondering what is going to happen here, not sure how this one is going to turn out. They will have been so confident, but the nerves must be setting in by now.
Did you see the video yesterday of when Sexy Cake fist bumped his coach and was like, afterwards?
Silence came past and hit his hand, yeah, and it looked like it just maybe caught him on the knuckles. Or...
I saw him there at the end of that little replay, and he was just like, got tapped on the shoulder and didn't raise his fist, and I was like, you don't want that to happen again. Doesn't want bleeding knuckles in such a crucial game, but looking at him, look in the first few rounds how stressed he was. Remember when he slammed the desk because they lost the round, how much he was stressing Sexy Cake out? He's
passionate
now. Oh, now he's bashing players. Forget about the desk. He absolutely means business in the server. Again, 4 and 4, well, 5 and 4, sorry, they sit out. We'll get this rehost done very, very shortly and jump straight back into things. I'm sure we all want to see how map number 1 concludes. We already had a bit of a belter of a first series, let's not forget as well, in case you have tuned in late from NA. First, good morning to you, fine people of North America. Second, you did miss a banger of a series. Fully recommend you go back and watch at least map 3 of the previous fixture between NIP and MIBR. One that you definitely won't regret. Some incredibly exciting rounds to close things out, and one that I'm sure many would love to see as a rematch in the grand final. But there's these two teams, TSM and Liquid, fighting to secure a place tomorrow in the lower bracket final against MIBR, and the winner of that will then progress into a best of 5 in the afternoon/evening. I think it starts at 1700 CEST after the reveal of the new season. It's going to be a spicy one. Can't wait to see what comes out in that. And that grand final will then let us finally declare who is, for now at least, the best team in the world until we step into the next major. Can't wait to see that get underway too, because think about it, in last year, we were kind of unfortunate to miss out on global majors. It was all kind of regionalized due to COVID-19, unfortunately, but I'm hoping later on this year we start to step back into seeing this kind of competition every 3 months, because my God, do we need it with how good SI has been this year.
Certainly do. It's been absolutely phenomenal. The games that we've had, the storylines, everything about it, the performances, individual performances. I have to mention Palu's at this point, Des. He came into today on 194 kills. I highlighted when he broke the SI record, which was set by Pino with 196 back in SI 2020. By getting 3 kills today, Palu put himself onto 197. I can tell you, even aside from the rehost, don't worry about the scoreboard. I've got the current figure in front of me. He's got 8 kills so far today. So Des, he has surpassed 200 kills here at SI 21. He is currently sat on 202, and this is only his 19th map. It is an unbelievable performance from Palu. Team Liquid as a whole, of course. Nesk has had a great outing as well, but it's just record after record that Palu seems to break.
I'm sure Ness will be chasing him as he came into the day on 185. For those who may be curious around what else sits in that kind of high 190 level, we have Pino on 196, Shaiko on 188, Muzi on 188, and I should say Palu came today on 194, Nesk on 185, and Bolo on 176. So lots of teams, or lots of players, sorry. Most of them from LATAM, surprising. Well, not surprisingly, I suppose I should say, chasing that spot. And consistency is the one point you've really got to talk about, where we see some players really shining. A few times this tournament, we have asked about players like Shaiko and even Bolo in the group stage. You know, where are they? Where are the frags that we're so used to seeing from these boys? While others from LATAM were stepping up and delivering in the group stage and inside of playoffs. You ask questions for others, when does that consistency really start to build that lets you contend for that 200 kill mark at an SI?
Well, that's the thing, that's exactly the point, isn't it, Des? It is all about consistency, and it's the fact that they've been here, they've played, this is their 19th map now, and Palu has averaged more than 10 kills per map consistently over 19 maps against some of the best players in the world.
Wasn't Joystick on like 122, was it, after 9
After
maps?
9, yeah.
That's insane.
It's unbelievable, and the talent that has been on display here in Paris at 6 Invitational 2021 has been just nothing short of mesmerising. And talking of mesmerising, it is unfortunately Palu. He will remain on 202 kills overall for the rest of this round as Merc finds him on the opener. 5 versus 4, and that is exactly what TSM needed, Des. They are attacking onto the kitchen site, and guess what they're doing, Des? They're paying attention to the top and the mid floor. They are not going to allow Team Liquid to just leave PSK up there and let him sit and watch those vertical angles. They are having absolutely none of that this time, and I'm glad to see it.
This is an audible description of showing mild shock. Not all that shock that it should be happening. You question why it didn't previously, but here it coming out shows that TSM want that full map control. The verticals being opened up should restrict the defenders downstairs, not able to contend as many angles or move as freely as they would like, and it will give them the control above the wall. If they wanted to get it open, they could, but it looks like it's going to be a freeze to take here. A bit of a death box to step into, to be honest with you, because you can get contested from inside of VIP very comfortably. Oh, there's a Yokai. Hello, good sir. Sitting yourself here at the top as a trade comes right on the other side. Merc, even when he's concussed, can win those. Nesk can't collect the kill. That's 2 for him in the round. Bolo had the entry and 3 kills 2 rounds ago, and they still lost. Merc has found 2. Now you got to push for the win.
I was just about to compliment the teamwork there of Sexy Cake just managing to get the stun out. He will prevent the diffuser going down for the time being, but Team Liquid just aren't in a position to really do anything about this, Des. The cover is in place. Moringa, he finds Merc. Geo has to go again, but Bolo shuts down Moringa, covering his teammate.
2 Yokais!
There we go. This is going to be Sexy Cake's game if it carries on, but Chalet gets PSK. There is no more that Sexy Cake can do with those Yokai drones. He has to make the challenge. He finds one onto Bolo. 1 versus 3 though. This is going to be massive. 1 versus 2, Des, as he finds Geo. He still has a task ahead of him. He gets hit from above. He has to find 2 men here. Can he get one? No! Achieved from above. This time, TSM take the vertical pressure. This time, TSM use that vertical advantage. And this time, Des, TSM successfully attack Kitchen.
My heart was going when I saw those 2 Yokais bouncing around. Think about how many times during the group stage we have seen teams destroy each other with Yokais tucked away in Kitchen, coming out of the last second and ending rounds and dreams. It's unbelievable. And here there were 2 freely kind of popping up and down. It was like playing whack-a-mole. One goes down for the recharge, the other one comes up and blasts you. For a solid 30 seconds, those 2 Yokais were doing all the hard yards. But fortunately for TSM, they find the kills around the map that let them converge on site, kill the Yokais, and step in. Sounds like it'll be another rehost coming in with the 6-pick bug being called by Sexy Cake at 5-5. Whew. It could come down to anything.
Well, we're getting 12 rounds. We know that much for sure. There's not going to be an opportunity for one of these teams to close it out any sooner than that. But as you said, as the 2 Yokai drones watching over the plant there, just blasting Geo alternately. Unfortunately for Sexy Cake, he just didn't have the support from this team that he needed. It was down to just him and PSK at that point. You know, really, you need 3 or 4 left on your team at that point if you want to keep playing that Yokai game. You've then got to be ready to be able to make challenges. And unfortunately for Sexy Cake, it was left to him to just come off and try and do that all by himself. He made a great effort of it, but it just goes to show the power of that vertical angle achieved, able to close it out. No problem, nice and calm. I've got the view down there. It doesn't matter that we've lost 2, and it was well played from TSM. I'm glad to see them get around on the board, tie it up at 5-5, just stop that flow of Team Liquid as they were just absolutely washing them away from this game. It's leveled up. They're back in it. Game on.
There's a word that begins with O that you cursed me for cursing with earlier on. Do you remember what it was? 8 letters.
I think it might have ended in time.
Correct. You remember the first 4 letters?
It was over.
Yeah, I think it was, you know, overtime. You're starting to get the sniff of it now at 5-5, and it feels again like it's one of the maps that deserves it. We're at this stage in the competition, the penultimate day. There are 2 games to play out today. I think we wanted to see all of them go to as many rounds as possible. Again, the previous series, Map 3 Clubhouse, round 15 it came down to. MIBR couldn't quite get it over the finish line. They're going to have to prove themselves again tomorrow morning. But we are getting back into it now as the loaded screen appears before us. Kafe flashes on our screens. It's 5-5. Liquid on the defense once again. I'm keen to see what site we head to. Do they have a repeat of Kitchen and Service given how it just went, or do we step somewhere else?
No.
The answer, Tim, is we're going to step somewhere else. It's going to be a reading and fireplace setup.
It certainly is. Now, we saw this back in round 8, Des, and it was, guess what, successfully defended by Team Liquid, as were all of the sites to begin with. They had a great defensive rotation to really get the game back on track for themselves, and it was successful. Nesk actually took the opening death, and it all came down, if you remember, to that last 20 seconds here, Des. It was PSK creeping up the brown stairs. It was Parlu dropping over the balcony from the top floor into pillars, and it was just that flurry of kills. But more than anybody, it was Moringa on the walk through the reading room and picking up 2 essential kills that allowed Team Liquid to get the round on the board. They're going to look to, I'm sure, keep things a little bit more solid this time. They lost control of the top floor quite quickly last time.
I just remember Sexy Cake lying inside of the cubby, or inside the shop more specifically, like saying, "Let me out!" That hatch below him as he tried to blast it with the shotgun.
Just doing everything he could to try and shoot the hatch out.
It just wouldn't give, and then Bolo put him in the dirt. Bolo with those 2 kills at the start of the round. Interestingly, a round that they still lost. Bolo got the entry and those opening 2 kills onto a third. And then they still managed to lose things out, suggesting that TSM, even when it looks like they have the advantage, can still bleed out a defeat. Let's see, though, how round number 11 plays out. Again, it's going to be the Mute and Mozzie stepping in, so a big focus from both teams, as we saw it a little bit earlier on, I believe, from TSM, the focus on denying information away from the other side.
Bolo back on the rappel once again. I was actually going to suggest, it might be an idea for Team Liquid just to put a little knock on that barricade, do so, just to create this sort of demon in the mind of Bolo that he can't just sit there comfortably on the rappel, and they've got to keep themselves out of that line of sight as well, because they know that he's going to use it to his full advantage if given the opportunity. But that knock on the barricade is certainly taking a lot of his attention. We can see him now, he's just sat there watching it for the time being, and that's a minute of the round past. There's nobody down there, Des. All they've done is just knock it out on their way past, and right now it's done a good job of Bolo not being able to apply too much pressure, but there's nobody playing in Cigar this time around either.
That's two drones that had to die for that one jammer to be removed. And there's still a jammer present as well. Is Merc about to run into the other one? Oh my god, he just ran the drone straight into it. So they're going to have to probably kill that one out as well, or at the very least get rid of the mute jammer that is still blocking out this drone. Again, a slow start for TSM. I think last time around we had 1 minute and 5 left and they were still holding top of red and being held back. The number of drones that are being fed in here like a blender into the side of Liquid is going to be painful as you do run out of that information a little bit later in. Great C4 up through the soft wall, by the way, to go up through the hatch. Didn't catch out either member that was looking to push through, mind you.
Certainly one that you can take away with you if you're wondering how to deal with a red stairs drop. It's a nice little angle there. Open the hatch, open the soft wall underneath, and you can get the explosives all the way up. Now Nesk, he's got Nitro in hand as well. I think he knows that there's a man on the rappel there. There's a yellow ping come out just to give him that information. I think he's just waiting for his opportunity there. Now Achieved is going to open things up with a kill onto PSK. That is the Malusi gone. Out comes the Nitro, but Bolo has got himself nicely to safety there, so he can just continue to pressure from this east-sided window. 45 seconds left to go. TSM, they've got that top floor control. They're starting to apply some vertical pressure to site. They're not looking bad, but they could just do with an extra kill or two before they think about trying to get the diffuser down.
Oh, we remember the bloodbath that came out before when we came down to those final 30 seconds or so. We might be able to descend into absolute madness. There's 9 men on the field. The planet's going down somehow. Geo, is he not going to get stopped here? 3 seconds left, 2 seconds, make it 1, and here comes Sexy Cake. Last time around it was PSK. Great little gap down onto Merc upstairs as the Nomads pop off seemingly everywhere as Liquid step in. Geo finding another into a 4 versus 2 as Sexy Cake is on the ground. I guarantee you there won't be much time to get him back on his feet unless they can find themselves safely able to do so, and I wager they would not. You got Palu holding up top here, one on the pillar, one playing at the bar who's being pinned from 3 different angles, can do nothing. Moringa's going to find himself going down. TSM edge a lead here, 6 and 5, one more and they take Kafe, but Liquid, it's very unfair to say that you don't see them taking this all the way to 12 and overtime being on the cards, Tim.
I enjoyed that from TSM. That was great adaptation. They showed that they recognised exactly what worked last time for Team Liquid, and unfortunately for Team Liquid, they tried to do the same thing again. It wasn't PSK this time, as you said. It was Sexy Cake moving up the half stairs, but he was shut down. Merc hadn't exposed himself from the cocktail balcony. He was further back, and there was a man ready on that reading door to be able to challenge onto Sexy Cake. He did manage to get a kill, but it was limited to that. Palu, they were well aware that he would be playing up on that top floor, and they closed him down as again he tried to rotate back to site after that diffuser had gone down. We see the kill from Achieve there. It was well played from TSM, Des. They picked up on everything that Team Liquid did originally. They picked up on where they played and where the danger was, and they dealt with it very, very well. And also a great stealth move from Geo to get in there and get the diffuser down.
Absolutely, and it's quite rare you get to commend players for good air jab placement, but I think in that case the one being placed at the far west of pillars, giving them an absolute freebie once the plant had already gone down. Geo stepping out and finding the next at the exact same moment, one also went off on red stairs. So good to just limit Liquid, I think, let TSM reset once they got the diffuser down, get into more appropriate positions, and you saw that really awkward 3-way crossfire that got set up onto Nesk, I believe it was. No, Palu, sorry, it was. He was playing up on the balcony. Let's step then into round number 12, see if Liquid can get this one over the finish line, if they can get us to overtime, or if TSM close it out here and they go into Chalet 1 map up.
Immediate pressure put onto those piano windows. We've seen Team Liquid quite a few times on the defence, getting themselves right up there, knocking the barricades out. It's something that TSM employed as well, just trying to, again, make it uncomfortable for the attackers to approach the building. But TSM, they're onto the rooftop, not much problem at all. Achieve will start to open up the hatches, so all fairly standard at this point for the first 30 seconds. It's job number 1, get yourself safe. Job number 2, get those drones out there and start to gather information.
Got rid of the laser gate for now, at least removed out of the way. so those drones can descend in quite safely. Have to get rid of the mute jammer that's pressed through. If you remember for TSM in the previous round, they had 3 drones consumed by the 2 mute jammers. The one that was inside of the cigar shop cubby, and one that was, I believe, on the other side, actually inside a cigar itself, but more looking down towards the south. There is a player tapped in here, and Bolo is on Bolo Windows. You've aptly christened it today, Tim.
Watch what happens.
As soon as this man moves, he's going down. He's going to get naded out, or he's going to get pressured in here. He is stuck between a rock and a gun. The gun that Bolo is currently holding. I'm pretty sure he's going to find himself dead. In comes the first nade. Sexy Cake. It's as simple as that. They have really dealt with this now. Maybe you start asking the question, if there are another few rounds to play, of which there most likely will be, the Sexy Cake maybe shouldn't be playing inside of the cigar shop anymore.
Bolo's window once again proving to be deadly to Team Liquid. 5 versus 4, Des, and they are seriously on the back foot at the halfway mark here. TSM have got themselves established at the top of Red Stairs. They're about to swarm into Piano and start to take control. They force Nesk back from Pixel corner. He's looking to make a challenge. He's a dangerous player. We know that he's capable of it. He holds a tight Pixel angle through there onto the double door into Cigar Shop. He's just looking to see if he can catch a man out. They need something big from Nesk. They need something big from Palu here. The Evil Eye camera will be destroyed, so that's going to just remove some information from Team Liquid. 50 seconds left to go, and TSM, they feel like a coiled spring at the minute, Des, just ready to pounce forward onto the weakened Team Liquid.
Feels like the right time as well, now that they're down to 3 members and 40 seconds to play. They're doing all the right moves. Can Liquid hold on and force it into overtime? A couple of pixels out, but Palu goes down. That's not the way you wanted this to go. Moringa finding one for himself. It's a 4 versus 2. One comes back as well. PSK, he strikes. If they can find one more, they can even things out, but no, it's Merc. PSK finds one. Can he get the next? No, he cannot. TSM take round, map number 1 even, and give themselves a chance to step through into the lower bracket final. Chalet comes up next.
Absolutely massive for TSM. They have taken the map choice of Team Liquid. They now move into what we could start to call possibly, Des, their comfort zone on Chalet. It was their map pick, and it is going to be the map that they have the opportunity to win this on and send themselves into that lower bracket matchup with MIBR.
Exactly what you wanted to see. We came into this talking about Bolo, about Nesk, and about Palu. Bolo coming out with 12 kills, but again, I cannot point to one side. Merc and Achieve, the entries they had, the C4s on defense. Mwah! Chef's kiss to that one. That's the kind of play you want to see. And I think if we step into Chalet, we need to see more of that. But let's go over to our analysts and get their thoughts on what has been an incredible game of Kafe.
Thanks so much, gentlemen. Daz and Ace, and back and forth this game went between TSM and Team Liquid, but the North Americans just inching it through. We said it yesterday, even last night, any team within the ones remaining here can win this tournament. And man, the separation is very tiny between them.
Small as it could possibly be. It was almost all the way till the end. It was almost another OT in a tournament that has been absolutely littered with them. It was just a great fight there by both teams. Liquid, it's the first time I guess we've seen them truly stressed on this map by an opponent that was getting in these early advantages, the 4-2 on the half. They were on the back foot, and it's the third time that we've seen them play the map, so understandably you start to really get a taste of them when they're on the sort of downside. I said at the beginning, you know, is the work going on behind the scenes? Players like people behind the scenes like Data, like obviously he's far away, and Pojo, and what they could do as well, and bringing it and counter-stratting it, and that's it. TSM find a lead.
Yeah, they're hungry, and they managed to get a top 3 finish last year, let's put it up like that. They're looking to find themselves a slot back into that top 3 at least, to do what Nip also did, who have their top 2 now. And well, it started off quite well, and I'm kind of worried for Liquid, seeing what TSM have brought up here, but that is a conversation we'll come back to in a little bit. And you know, if I'm quickly pulling up some of these stats here, no one really standing out on Liquid. Like, they're close to positive. PSK not really having the best game, -6. The rest is just above, just below. It's not the standout players that we're used to be seeing from them.
Look, you ask me, if TSM make it to the grand final, I would put Merc as possible MVP for this entire tournament if it's keeping
Really?
100%. Merc is incredible. I know, I already posted about him, like, you know what?
You do?
Already.
You've got your little fan club card.
Yes. Merc, number one fan.
Number
here,
one fan.
by the way. Best Maverick player in the world. I challenge anybody. He's seen it, that's for sure. I know about that.
I think I've enjoyed Merc's play in this tournament because he's fearless. Sometimes I will say it's to a fault. We've seen him.
He makes no mistakes.
I think mainly on the defense, when we've seen him in certain games, he's a bit untethered, he's a bit uncontrolled, and it's put TSM on a bit of a back foot. I will say it's been getting sharper. It's been less of a problem because on the attack, it's perfect. That's exactly what you want.
That's why I said
That's exactly what you want from that player in that situation, is to get in. But the expenses of those trades on defense is becoming less of a problem. And we sort of highlighted we need all of TSM to start kind of firing on all cylinders the same way that a couple of standout players have been. They just got to do one more map.
Yes, Hap.
That is like what we were talking about before as well, like all the way back to the start of the playoffs. They often had roamers that were being picked up without any consequences for the team who picked them up, right? That is starting to become better and better as they progress through the tournament. They're starting to not lose any of these players without being able to strike back straight away, and that is a big thing for them. And if you look at it as well, most of the entry kills actually going their way, 9-3 in the opening kill department.
Big plays today for both of these teams, but Bolo, Merc, really showing up in this game. That's the necessary bit. You're playing against a very difficult team, currently number one rated in all of Brazil and Latin America. We've seen them performing in BR6. We've seen them in Copa Elite 6 as well. Team Liquid are an incredible squad. We expect them to make it this far into the tournament, but TSM, they're really showing their prowess in this tournament. That's what we are expecting out of them as well. Though that is map number one, I think it is time for us to turn our attention to our second one, because we're just having the conversation that, hey, this is Kafe. Next up is Chalet, and that is a map that I spent pretty much the past week talking about. Oh, TSM on Chalet are pretty good. Probably the best team in NA, probably the best team in the world on it right now.
I don't think it's just TSM. I think it's the entirety of the North American region is good at Chalet.
Is that the dance?
Is that the dance?
The North American dance?
The North American Chalet dance.
I know you speak like a dozen and a million languages.
I speak North American.
And you speak dance. Yeah, that's right. Chalet is a great NA map, and NA, they're known for being able to quick to develop strategies.
Sure.
For new maps, they're always this region that will very quickly bring these ideas and sort of boil them together and come up with a play and then deliver it across the entire region. They've been able to kind of work on this map that's otherwise been done in solidarity, in sort of loneliness, and I think we need some big moments from Liquid now for them to kind of take what is a great map for the whole region of NA.
And they'll have to be the ones that actually play in that way, because they're starting off on the attacking side. Liquid on Chalet, they're not too shabby of a team, I have to say, in general, but specifically on this map. Starting on the attack on Chalet, yeah, usually it can work out well for you, but it seems like the advantage on TSM's side. I know, Hap, you're dancing around, waiting to say it.
No.
Go ahead. Get it out. Get it out of your system.
They lost it twice. 7-8, 7-8 against MIBR and FaZe Clan Liquid, that is. So they lost it to LATAM team. So haven't seen them. Yeah, it's
very
close. But we haven't seen them play it yet against a North American team. And I'm not 100% sure. I didn't check this, but I wouldn't be surprised if NA currently has a 100% win rate on Chalet against other regions.
They're good.
They're really good. And yes, attack is good, but we saw that the defenses that TSM can bring on this map are also really good. So you're starting to worry in that case.
What is the thing that Liquid can bring to save them in this game? We know how effective TSM are. Any operators that you can remove? Anything in coordination that you need? Maybe Liquid could have learned or fixed from Kafe moving forward, watching all of these TSM VODs? Anything that jumps to mind?
I wouldn't say anything in terms of removal, but one of the things that sort of plagued TSM before is losing that early body on the extension of a map. This is a map that sort of plays similar to that. You can try and bite people, and we've seen when Liquid are comfortable and when they're confident, they're so quick to strike at a person. When they're up against FaZe, they were having mixed days and mixed moments with those early engagements, but they were able to get there eventually. If they can find a little bit more pace, the same way that FaZe sort of delivered to them, if they can bring some learnt lessons over from yesterday where, 20 seconds in, 30 seconds in, they'd lost the player, they need to try and find the way to translate that against TSM.
How can Liquid learn from NIP?
Well, I think I'm just gonna say, as long as Cyber, a Cyber-like player does not enter your sites and just takes down everybody in the middle of bar gaming, I think that you're improving already. That is a very big point that we saw. Multiple times there was just one or multiple members entering the sites, taking them down as they went, 2, 3, maybe even 4 members. There's nothing you can do in that case. So they need to make sure that their hold, especially on bar gaming, which is quite weak, and yet they prefer it most of the time. I believe they played it 4 times out of the 6 defensive sides, and they won it only once. Do you really want to hammer back on that as much as you keep on losing it every single time to the exact same play that keeps happening?
Look, it seems like North America and teams in general are kind of learning from NA in this, and specifically from TSM. The main thing about playing Chalet is holding the library/hallway area by a big window, right? Once you hold those, you're good to go. You're at least burning a lot of time through the round. How can this be broken by Team Liquid, understanding that TSM usually are setting up with Goyo shields, maybe a bulletproof cam on a single reinforcement library wall to hallway?
That's the thing.
Very technical, I know.
Liquid did it well. They held it well. They stayed in control. It wasn't like they were losing the top floor. The issue was that they were losing the bottom floor. And that might be the counter for it. Go through the basement. You can rotate up the fireplace stairs. Go right into the bar. If you have the right information, pinch from bar, pinch from the blue stairs in the back, and you might be able to just take the sides underneath them. So there's multiple ways to go at it here. And I'm sure both these teams will have their ideas after we have seen so many Chalets throughout the tournament. It is do or die now for Liquid. They need to give their best game on Chalet that they've ever played.
I remembered something. I remembered that in the showdown where TSM went against FaZe, that was the map that they took from them. They went down 7-4. They were able to take care of FaZe. And one of the big problems that they kept on putting up was they were able to crack the backline. And they weren't quite ready. FaZe weren't quite ready for TSM's method of approach of the sort of spread that they did. And even though on that day and in that series, Achieved played the worst series that he's played across the tournament, that map and his ability to get in behind FaZe, to get in behind the Latin American team, that kept on causing them problems. And I think being able to lock a handle on that could be Liquid's potential way in, as if they can keep an eye on that loose player with that momentum, maybe that backline will be a little bit more secure.
Now, just to update everybody at home, we're still waiting until both of our teams are ready. It's going to take
Either
us
side of
minutes. So
I didn't hear the huddle up.
I always feel like we've got to be a little bit quieter when we talk about how to help them win, because we don't want to help that. We want them to have a fair game. They can't hear us anyway. That's very noisy in here. But you're still like, hey, Milosh,
what do you think about this?
what do you think about this?
Actually, one thing I want to talk about that we have not had the time to talk about at Invitational much, and specifically in EUL and APAC, because we don't really see much of it, is Zero. TSM are pretty much the only team that have been running Zero almost constantly, and Chalet is the map that you see Chala using Zero on very often, pretty much every single round on the attack. TSM's biggest advantage, in my opinion at least, again, I'm only the host, I don't know much about the game.
You can't use that as an excuse.
You cannot use that. You've been
Milosh,
literally
you grew up with
casting
the
and
game.
analyzing longer than we have in professionals.
We're just two whippersnappers.
No, that's demo now.
Demo.
You guys graduated.
Let's go! When do we get our certificate?
No
Okay.
more bureaucracy.
Sorry, we've interrupted
I've
your
had enough bureaucracy.
What were you
for the past
saying? You were
year.
saying that you know nothing?
Yes.
Jon Snow.
Okay.
I have not watched Game of Thrones yet.
Oh.
Wow, you really do know nothing.
See, there you go. I think the internet spoiled me enough.
Okay.
Zero is definitely an operator that TSM use and abuse. Their biggest thing, in my opinion, is how TSM are effective in gathering information, and that helps with what you were saying, Em, is that allows TSM to spread around the map and tighten the noose like they did against FaZe. How does this work against Team Liquid? Because they've become pretty much the most structured team in Brazil. Liquid are starting to rely more and more on planting when they're on their attacking side.
Yes.
On the defense, information gathering is very effective for TSM as well. How does Saltai? This is just information. It's half the game.
Zero currently has a 5% pick rate. Let's put it up like that. There hasn't been much play yet, and that might make it a bit difficult to. How do you counter it? Well, the obvious way is to shoot the bright yellow light that is shining somewhere, so they won't be able to use it. But besides that, what do you really do? Like, it's such a a flexible operator and gadget. You can just shoot it up wherever you want. You can shoot it over whatever you want. You can even take out utility with it. You could ban it. That's the way around it.
I mean, that's actually exactly what FaZe did. They banned Zero and they banned Aruni as well. An operator, Aruni, by the way, that Latin America in general does not use much of. If you look back at BR6, at Copa Elite 6, now here at Invitational, maybe a bit more. But North Americans are starting to pick it up much more than even the Europeans did before.
I think the removal of Echo was good from TSM because that was a big play the other day. It almost won out some rounds for them on Chalet earlier than it otherwise would have been. When I think of how Liquid attack this map, I always picture the duo of Maverick and Hibana. And in my head, I'm thinking, is that something that they might be able to toy with? But if they toy with it, and that's the situation that we're in, will they, I guess, shake the boat too much? And will they find a Liquid they didn't expect and a Liquid that strikes back?
It's a question. Will they strike back? We'll see.
We don't know.
It's on Liquid.
We don't know either.
It's on Liquid. They're the ones that have to survive so far. My coin toss has been 100% correct and predicted a TSM victory for this game. Honestly, it's better than anybody in this.
Is it a €2 coin or a €1 coin?
Hmm?
Is it a €2 coin or a €1 coin?
No, it is a 5 zloty coin. It's some of the last money that I still have left over from Poland, so I don't really know what to do with it. I just toss it to Witchers and casters in this game. So there it is. Hap M, thank you so very much for this. It is time to bring it forward to our casters. We've got TSM in North America, the final hope. Team Liquid on the other side, the fastest and the biggest that they've ever been at Invitational. How will it go down? Chalet map 2, can TSM take it forward to face off against MIBR? It's our friends on the caster's desk that'll have to guide us through it. So Des Ace, enjoy!
Thank you very much, Milosh. It's game number 2. Liquid, Chalet. Shall they be going home? Or TSM? That's a really bad one. I'm so sorry, everyone. Shall they show us what they're made of here and be able to break the curse of me? I love how disappointed he is. This is what I live for. Those kind of reactions, worth every single second. They've got a lot of work to do here coming in, like we said, and I think they pointed it out on the desk very, very well. TSM have not lost to a non-NA team on this, or sorry, a non-NA team on this map. I think that's correct. They've only lost to Oxygen. So there is some work to be done. Liquid need to set a couple of records here, and not just in the kills department, but also need to bring TSM down on this map. We can hear the cheers behind us, no doubt. There's some cheers from you at home or groans after that terrible pun as we get into map number 2, Tim. Let's see how the bands shape up.
We will start off with TSM taking away our first attacker as they are on the defensive side. I'm sure that most people will know who are watching Des, but just in case not, so they get to take out 2 operators each. The defenders start us off with an attacker. The attackers then take their own attacker and a defender, and the defenders finish us off with the last ban. So TSM take Nomad out of the running, and Team Liquid choose to take Thatcher. So TSM taking Nomad, just suggesting there that they're maybe going to use the roam on defense a little bit, try and get in and around, get mobile and fluid around the map, and the air jabs of Nomad would potentially stop them doing that, so they've taken those away. Now Thatcher and Kaid going away, so there's going to be no electrification of hatches, and to a degree walls as well. There will be other options to deny those hard reinforcements from being breached, but Mirror will be our last operator taken out of things. That's going to round things up for us. Nothing wildly unusual there.
There's some complementary bands as well. The Kaid and the Thatcher, one that you often see paired together on something like a Clubhouse, especially when you have a Maverick band coming out, because Maverick is what you turn to when a Thatcher is banned away and walls, or sorry, hatches are electrified, often walls as well, as we saw in the previous matchup on Kafe when attacking into the bakery. Just makes sense to have the 2 off the board to forget about all that riffraff and focus instead on other things inside the game. Going to be a last second switch away from the Maverick onto the IQ, a pick that we don't see all that much, but one that I think has been flexed in at the perfect time by Liquid, because Achieved has stepped away from the Malusi onto the Valkyrie, so going to deal a lot with that. And one of the games that we saw, I believe it was Cloud9's last game on Coastline, well, we had an IQ playing upstairs and saw everything going on downstairs. There was someone sat on cams, there was a pulse downstairs, there was a vigil. all of it laid bare in the eyes of the IQ. So we'll see if Ness can make good use of that one, catch out those Valkyrie cams. But Tim, what I love most about this map is it is still fresh. There are still things to be learnt about it. There are still new ideas being brought along. And even to comment on the previous map, we saw a little bit of that coming, and I thought on the top floor, holes that were coming out of TSM, at least not commonly, things that we would have seen. I'm hoping here we get lots of fresh ideas, because this is now do or die for Team Liquid. They lose this map, they are out of 6 Invitational 2021. Have as many kill records as you like, it's not going to help you lift the hammer unless you can convert it into round and map wins.
It's all for vanity at that point, Des, if you don't manage to get through and claim that title. I said it about Bolo and Shaiko the other day, and I would extend the sentiment to Palu and Nesk. And, you know, it's not to suggest it's going to be anytime soon, but, you know, to imagine those players not lifting the hammer potentially within their career is almost unthinkable, especially for somebody like Nesk, who has been, for my money, Des, one of the best players to ever touch this game for consistently the longest time as well. He's right up there with Pengu for me in the annals of Siege history, is Nesk. And to see him potentially go out at this late stage, it's the furthest that Team Liquid have ever progressed. It's the best that he's done, and I'm sure he's going to play hard on the opener, Des, with a kill onto Merc to get us underway, to keep himself in this tournament.
Merc gets murked. Who knew that could happen? He was the one finding a lot of the entry kills on the start of Kafe, but here, shut out nice and early on. Ness doing his work with the IQ, like we commented on earlier on. So not only is he picking up the entry kill, but also then proceeding on to go and pop out any gadgets that he can possibly find. The second one gets tagged out here. It's a great early discovery. All this inside the first minute and 15 seconds. An entry kill and 2 Valk cams destroyed. He's definitely getting his value for money on this IQ pick.
So the pressure being applied by Sexy Cake now.
Knock, knock.
Just looking to get those lines of sight opened up. He's just holding a view down onto the blue stairs as well. There goes the initial breach, as that is just forcing those defenders away from Master and Office in particular, Des. That's giving the bit of vertical pressure to Team Liquid once they achieve that as achieved, jumps over the balcony and scurries away. So that is Team Liquid in possession of the top floor, in possession of the first 2 kills, and in possession of a serious advantage here in round 1.
Exactly what you wanted to see. We were already coming in. The TSM might start off strong, but we did also comment on saying that this is a very attacker-leaning map right now in the meta. I believe in some regions it's as low as 30% defender win rate. It is that bad. And some sites definitely not doing anything to help that. Ness doing a lot to help Liquid's chances in the round. Double kill for himself. And also yet another pick-off on the IQ. Again, maximum value. 2 left on the side of TSM. They've got a hold for 35 seconds. Something says to me, even with a C4 in back pocket, there won't be enough that Gio can do here to keep the team going in this round, unless he can catch one here inside of Solera. And that's going to be a freebie. About the only free one that he should be able to find. No, it wasn't.
He got the down.
Okay.
He got the down. It was
Didn't even look at the kill feed.
coincidental that the kill came in at the same time. It was Sexy Cake who was killed, but that one way or another leaves us 2 versus 3 with 15 seconds left to go, and this would be a big turnover for TSM, Des. But Palu, he's going to find Gio, and it's a matter of time. You see his backpack. Come on, there we go. Get the kill. Palu finishes off Chalet, finishes off round 1, and Team Liquid, they start us off with a big start on Chalet.
Okay, it's a little bit dicey from Palu, but a kill is a kill, a round is a round, and progress is progress. Good way to get things underway. Good aggressive start, especially from Ness with 2 big kills coming out and shutting down the potential for any roams using those Valkyrie cameras. That's what you love to see. Let's go into round number 2, stepping into Master and Office. And I know for the longest time that a good number of people have said, why would you ever play in Snowmobile downstairs? It's the worst site in the game, lowest defender win rate, blah, 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 blah. Some regions, and I think of APAC when I say this, and a couple of teams in Europe too, have played it from time to time. So I'm really keen to see if we step down there and what that sort of setup looks like, because commonly, I think as they touched on the desk, the library kind of becomes the centerpiece of any defense. You'll always see teams extended down there looking to waste time. I remember TSM playing on it last week, and I think it was Bolo who was in the bottom left corner for the entirety of the round. All of his team died around him, and he was the last man left standing in there in a 1 versus 4, and unfortunately couldn't clutch anything else. But I expect to see at the very least for TSM that they will have a man or 2 inside that room.
TSM then in round 2, they move themselves vertically up 1 floor. Last time around they tried to defend dining and kitchen. They decided that that was not for them, so They could not stand the heat, Des. They've got themselves out of the kitchen and they are up to Master and Office. The defence is going to be largely similar. We will see Team Liquid come in and no doubt try to breach that K9 wall again that they managed to last time, that leads into the Office, just at the bottom of your screen at the minute. Thank you, Easy. There we go. That's exactly the one I'm talking about. There will be no doubt a focus potentially towards that wall from Team Liquid, although they have shaped up initially, looking at potentially getting themselves into Solarium.
We had a good laugh about this in EUL, I remember. Solarium. The variety of ways that you can say. I think we settled on Solarium in the end. Just a small little memory coming out there. Again, with this IQ pick coming out, they're going to spot exactly where that yokai is going and can't get it because it's behind those lovely, big, thick beams, but they're going to know that it's there. Now, the chance comes for Gio to either move it away or leave it present and try and bait them into trying to push in for it. You can see his screen lit up here with the litter of gadgets that are scattered around, all 4 of them sat in front of their faces. Again, that play might come in from Liquid to say, let's remove those nice and early. There's another yokai also lurking here on the north side, so everything's currently committed in towards the north. And as you can see, they're slowly moving them away. He keeps on getting the pings that these things are moving in and out, but it's a question now of whether or not he can clear them out. There we go. That's 1 removed. So this time it's not Valkyrie camera hunting, it's going to be the yokai drone hunting.
He was waiting on that first one for the longest time, and the second he took his scanner and it dropped down and buzzed away. Now then, he does locate the second by chance as well, as he sees it bouncing up and just trying to get onto a surface that it can stick to. Takes pot shots through the wall, but will not be able to find it. It's just hidden in there, in the corner behind that hard reinforcement.
Robot Wars!
There's a bit of a drone battle going on as well between the regular attacker drone and the yokai, which manages to escape for the time being at least. Now, PSK just feeding information back in on a yellow ping there, letting his teammates know that there is a defender lurking. Palu, he's moving slowly up to Sexy-Kate.
It's 10 alive!
Down, Des. 5 still on either side, and Sexy-Kate is going to be successful here. The cover is in place. Palu gets 1, he gets 2, Des. Palu going big to kick us off here in round 2. Gio finds 1 onto Sexy-Cake after the plant is secured though, and there is now about 23 seconds left for TSM to turn this around. They have to have the kills by that 7th second, so they have time to disable the active diffuser. Gio, he just flashes it there, goes in and thinks about trying to get that disable off, but cannot do it as the 2 kills come in from PSK onto Gio and achieved to finish the round. Team Liquid showing the value that can be found in getting the diffuser on the ground.
Not every day you see a 10 men still alive diffuser going down. One of those that you see the reason for the yokais coming in and maybe a little bit too much reliance on them to do the hard yards. But TSM letting that one slip through their fingers. Liquid being as smooth as Liquid, stepping in there, flexible and able to get it down in a great position. And you mentioned Palu with an excellent 2 kills on the downstairs, because at that point TSM are already panicking, thinking, my God, we've got to go and contest. Forget about him on the west main. They had the 1 player on the doorway, which achieved it, or on the window, sorry, that Achieve did pick up. I thought maybe we'd see someone go for a run out of trench, or maybe a jump out of the window, anything to contest the player that Stetson stopping inside of Office. Achieve did win it in the end. But either way, all just slips through their fingers. It's 2 rounds quite convincingly to the side of Liquid Ace.
Third defensive round coming up for TSM. They're going to try their 3rd site, Des, without securing a win as of yet. They've brought the Frost along. Frost mat placed on the double window into Games Room there. Nothing too unusual. Sometimes you'll actually get the Frost double up and put 2 mats there to try and make it more difficult to shoot out on the way in through the window. When there's 1, you've got a pretty high percentage chance of vaulting in there and shooting it out. There is a chance. There is a small chance that it won't happen every time and it can still snap shut on your leg. But TSM choosing to just go for the single Frostmat setup on that window should be reasonably easily cleared. I'm sure Team Liquid will be aware of the likelihood of it being there. There's no doubt going to be a big top floor battle again here, Des. We can't overstate really how important top floor is on Chalet. Dining and kitchen, master and office, bar and games, 3 sites out of the 4. Top floor is going to be fought over.
And vertical play was a big thing that we spoke about on the previous map, especially well utilised by Achieve, constantly down there with the C4, and in 1 round even the Kaid Electroclaws was beautiful to see. And here it feels it's not really being as impactful as TSM would like, not playing in behind those C4s, not able to deny as much as they would like. In this round, leaning on 2 bulletproof cams to feed them more information, as well as the 2 C4s, plus the shield, which no doubt is going to be positioned here at the top of the library stairs.
Nesk just moving across that top floor with Moringa in tow, looking for this clearance. The ping comes out for an ADS there, and this is where the battle line has been drawn. As TSM, Geometrics just up at the top of the library stairs there. He's got a Goyo shield in front of him, and he's going to hold on to that position for as long as possible. They really don't want to give up library. That is where you get the direct vertical control down into sight, and it enables the attackers to get in and put the diffuser down and activate it then. So for the time being, Team Liquid, they're going to have to try and just unpick this puzzle that is in front of them. Nesk gets the drone out. He's looking to try and gain some information. In goes the frag grenade from Palu, and that is going to force Geo further down those stairs. As the Vulcan shield detonates, the fire will clear momentarily, and that gives a little bit more access potentially to Team Liquid here, but Bolo is still a problem in this power position on Mezzanine.
Yeah, still got the two ADSs in front of him as well, which are protecting the player at the top of the library. So a good hold to kick things off for TSM, wasting about 2 minutes so far. Wonder at what point they'll have to drop away. You can normally afford to hold the vertical for as long as you like. This time it's Merc striking up, but Palu's just better when he swings onto Geo. Merc with a second, though, was better momentarily. Okay, 3 versus 3 as Sexy Cake evens things out and shuts down the fragger on the side of TSM. 3 versus 3 and 50 seconds to play. Not quite yet at the point where there's going to be a force push coming out of the attackers, but they need to worry about everything else that still needs clearing. A bit of a whiff C4. Curious one to come out. Shala finding a kill onto Moringa not long after. 3 versus 2. Utility singing in as he runs across there. The flash masking him very temporarily. The kill not able to come through for TSM. And now they're in a spot to be able to make things happen. 6 rather than 4 X-Karos, but in a bit of a hurry. You can't blame him. It's the only action these X-Karos are going to see all round long. 20 seconds to go, Ace. Now's the time to go for Liquid unless Achieve can shut it down, which he absolutely can. 3 versus 1. Diffuser's cold dead on the ground. I don't see a way that PSK can pull this off.
Nope, that's round 3 done as PSK looks to move in. 12 seconds left to go. Can't find the first kill. Achieved with a great headshot. Big play from him at the end of the round there to pick up those 2 kills. First of all, dropping that diffuser down cold on the ground and then just mopping up PSK like a spilt drink at the end there as he finishes off the round. 2-1 to TSM. That is their first successful defense. They're going to need a few more, but this is not the end of the world, Des. We do see the attackers doing well on Chalet quite often.
We do. It is attack leaning at the moment. I think for the longest time we'd always say that new maps tend to be defender leaning. Not so much that you haven't found the best strats to begin with, but more that attackers have still got to figure out the best way to attack it. How can they make use of the seemingly very limited time you actually get in around 3 minutes? Sounds like a lot in your head, but once you start thinking about, okay, get to the building, drone it out, get inside the map, get back on drones again, coordinate some utility clear, start setting up for the execute, hopefully not lose anyone in the process. Those 3 minutes very quickly become nothing in the grand scheme of things, and you find yourself a little bit panicked. Whereas at the minute, teams are really shining at attacking this map. We'll see if the trend continues though once Liquid go onto their defense, because heaven knows they might just be excellent defenders here on Chalet.
They may well be. Round number 4 then, we're going to be back to kitchen and dining. We saw this back in round number 1 for TSM. Team Liquid were able to overrun them reasonably easily on this one. Nesk opened us up with a kill onto Merc, and it all went downhill from there as Palu got a big 3K to close out the round, and TSM were just washed away in front of their aggression. They couldn't hold on to the top floor. They were forced back to site quickly, and the pieces of the puzzle, the defense just crumbled really within the first few minutes. So this time around, TSM, they need to make a better job of those top floor challenges. They don't want to give that up too quickly, and they certainly don't want to be losing their lives up there.
Absolutely don't. Again, big heavy shields set up here as well. The Goyo always going to help out with those sort of things. Looks like to begin with they're going to concede control at least out towards the library side quite early on, not bother having a setup there. And in this case, I understand you want to put all your resources instead inside of office and bedrooms, sat above the actual sites itself. Some teams might commit one man out there. In this case, it's Merc with a couple of ADSs sat around piano looking to do a little bit of contesting through the window, but nothing to be found. Backs away quite smoothly. Doesn't want to get himself caught out too early, as he has been a big early round contributor for the team in finding those kills once Liquid starts stepping up for the challenge.
Nesk once again clearing out those electronic gadgets. IQ very, very powerful when it comes to dealing with that utility, but also from just giving an idea. There's a couple of ADSs there, so do you know what? Maybe there's somebody playing on piano because they're trying to stop us pushing into that location. 5 versus 5 still, as we don't have an opener yet. The silhouettes tell us that there is somebody up above, but won't be able to see the man for the time being, and the Vigil escapes with his life for now. Merc really Playing with danger here, Des. He's going to get burnt if he's not careful.
You can see him just stepping into each other's angles, and I'm sure Merc saw the leg there, but didn't want to take the challenge, I think. Just keep on trying to reposition for a better angle. Now has to step away as the wall gets opened up. And this spot now being pushed in does mean that Merc is in a position where he needs to be cautious. And Rogue Grenade comes singing in, can catch out onto that shield and put him in hot water very quickly, given it is one with the Vulcan strapped to the back. Means it will explode into flames when destroyed. 3 members from the side of Liquid starting to scrap up here as well, getting ready for the push in. And potentially from the doorway, we've seen this quite a few times in terms of the contest coming in. Grenades at the ready, doors blown out. This is when it could catch the grenade if it bounces it correctly.
Merc's played this really well. Look at him. He gets out of there with his life as well. That's 2 minutes burnt, Des. This is much better from TSM here. They've kept hold of the top floor for the longest time right now. 55 seconds left to go, and Team Liquid have got a big job ahead of them. 5 versus 5, and they need to start finding kills here. They are not even anywhere near being able to push on towards the site. This is looking good for TSM as Bolo and Chalet find kills for themselves. Sexy Cake manages to trade out Bolo with a headshot, but still 4 versus 3 as TSM come out on top of that situation. That is another one coming in for Merc. He's had a great round. I've got to shout him out again on the vigil. He's absolutely played his role perfectly, wasting time, finding kills, just making it impossible for Liquid to push forward. It's all down to Sexy Cake and Moringa right now. They're trying to find anything. They're trying to salvage something out of this round now. There we go. Clear Pigeon shooting, takes down the Nitro. Sexy Cake was trying to get the diffuser down, but as his cover dies, he has to drop off. He manages to find one. The time runs out, Des. The time runs out. The 6th man coming in for TSM there, claiming the round, and that levels us up 2-2. And I can see a frown on your face, Des. I can see a frown.
Gio, bro, let's level it a little bit. You're walking into a room in which a guy isn't even facing you. You've got a shotgun in your hand. You've got an SMG you can switch to. And you stand there like a bit of a lemon and get blasted in the face. I don't know what was going on. It ultimately had 0 impact in the round, but it's one of those that you look at and just question marks appear in your head. They appear in chat. I'm sure lots of lull emojis are in there as well, all just spam through for whatever the hell happened at the end. But after the first 2 rounds and us commending Liquid so well, it's 2-2, Tim. TSM are staging a bit of a fight back on the defense. Again, we'll wait for the second half to really comment much further on how things kind of shape up. For Liquid, I thought they did well at the start. They got themselves in control of the office wall, started to look for their push in, but pretty soon after, we saw, well, there's 60 seconds left. You are pinched against the clock, and there's questions to be asked there around timeliness. Ultimately, TSM winning on time alone. What is that face, Bolo? I love these player cams. You get some. I love how we saw Psycho earlier on, looking like a Psycho with some of the reactions, how excited he was at winning the rounds. Then you get things like that are equally very entertaining on the way too.
Heading up to the top floor then for round 5. It is 2-2 on the scoreboard as TSM, after a bumpy start, managed to get themselves back into this one. They're going to be defending Master and Office this time around. We've got the Jaeger setting himself up there. Merc, he's going to be playing in that bathtub. He's got the Frost mat next to him. All 3 ADSs, Des, are in there. They are not going to be budging out of this bathroom position. They want to keep themselves locked firmly inside of there. We know that it can be one of those power spots, especially if you're trying to push in from the solarium side.
Can indeed. It's all about that push from the last time you remember. They got in there with a 10 men still alive. Sorry, Plant was coming down and everything down to the south was completely ignored. For TSM, there are 2 playing down here. I think trying to greet anyone that might try and push in. It almost feels reminiscent of Villa, where you think about Trophy and Statuary, you can attack from the north if you want, come in straight from bathroom into Astro, into bedroom, for example. Similar sort of feeling here with Solarium. Or you can start on the other side of the map, and very commonly, if you're pushing in from Study, you'll find yourself with 2 defenders looking to contest you. A similar sort of vibe coming out from TSM here on this defense of the top side towards the north.
1 minute into the round then, Team Liquid not established inside of the map yet. We've had reasonably slow starts to a lot of these attacking rounds. Liquid playing with caution, looking to get the drones in, gather the information, and just make sure that they know what's in front of them before they're going in. It's done them well, it's served them well for the first couple of rounds, but then after that, TSM just seem to have woken up a little bit. There's a man, predictably, playing on the mezzanine. We've commented on the power of that position. Great opener from Moringa. Nesk manages to find one onto Bolo. And a second, showing the skill that comes with that Nesk push. 2 headshots there, just absolutely burning through TSM right now. 5 versus 2, and we're just over the halfway mark.
I was just about to say, we're only 90 seconds in. They've got drones, they've got utility, they've got everything they could need to push forward and make this round a success in a 5 versus 2. If they give this away with 90 seconds left and all that stuff I just talked about a second ago, that will be one of the biggest throws I think I've ever seen. So they should be taking this one a little bit passively, getting the drones in, locating Chalet and Geo, and saying, right, we know how we can win this one now. Incredible tag team duo coming out of Moringa and Ness.
For a plan.
Ness could have got the triple, by the way, I think, but Moringa just about snagged it away from him about half a second prior. So unfortunate to not be walking away with more kills to add to the record in this case. Let's see what Geo can do, stepping out with the Aldrin Hound. We know how much damage it can do. Full white screened, and there goes Geo. This could be a flawless round. Yes, it shall be. PSK closing things out. Liquid cakewalking round number 5.
Caught on the long angle there, shut down for the round, flawless for Team Liquid, as that was a very solid attack. Moringa and Nesk really putting them onto a great start to begin with a couple of big entry frags that just really powered them into the rest of the round, and they looked very, very comfortable from there not to be dislodged. I think Team Liquid does really need to be taking a 4-2 half here, because if we do see Chalet continue to play out with an attacker bias, if it's level at 3-3, that's then a big advantage to TSM. They are, of course, one map up. If you've only just joined us, where have you been for starters? But TSM, they won Kafe. It took them 12 rounds. It was 7-5, but they won up here. It's best of 3. Team Liquid, they have no option. They win Chalet or they go home.
That's the terrifying thing, and has been for the last couple of days. You lose, you're out. Yesterday was 4 lower bracket round games. We had 4 teams go home. Well, only one will be going home today, so quite a difference in that one. But of course, the earlier game was the upper bracket final. NIP progressed into the grand final that takes place tomorrow at about 5 o'clock CEST. An hour before that is going to be the season reveal, so don't miss out on that. And prior to that one, it's the lower bracket final. The winner of this game coming up against MIBR, who lost in the upper bracket final earlier. It's going to be an absolute belter no matter which team makes it through. For the story, I want to say that I want it to be TSM. I want to see an NA versus LATAM Grand Final because everyone needs that. Everyone needs to see it. But equally, like you said to me a few times, it feels like now is the time for LATAM to take the hammer home, because after how close they've been for a couple of years, this should be their chance to walk away the winners, Tim. LATAM need this, if nothing else. And with kill records like they're getting for Liquid, you almost don't want to see them going home this early.
You really don't. And we're going to head into bar and game for the last defensive round for TSM here. This is going to be looking to close out a strong half for them. They're going to try to level things up at 3-3 and just try to gain any sort of advantage that they can over Team Liquid before they head on to that attack. I'm sure if in terms of momentum and mentality and everything else that goes with it. Now, Merc, he's inside of Library on the Arune at the moment, just looking to apply pressure. We've spoken about the power of this position. Library, very important for all of the 3 sites that we've seen so far, to be honest. Kitchen, dining, master office, bar and game. Library is central to many of those attacks, but no more so than this one, really.
Should be able to step in and catch a couple of gadgets out here. Nesk, window to your right-hand side, buddy. Or at the very least, giving out some calls to the team on where those gadgets are. I remember a few times we speak to a couple of teams. Old Team Secret was a great example. I think Meepy, when playing on IQ, would stand up on the roof and basically shot call the round with an IQ. Okay, got to get rid of this gadget. Throw a grenade here. We're going to make this play. It's going to happen. Right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. And they just make the play happen off the back of that. So Nesk, I think, providing a little bit of that samey information. Merc now knows that it's a Ralph Wiggum, I'm in trouble. And he knows it as well. I'm in danger is the exact wording, because he knows that he's pinned into this back corner and the members of Liquid are starting to surround on all sides. If he loses the support from the top of Library, he's going to get pinched out of there pretty quickly. Does have support also out on Mezzanine, so for now it's not the end of the world. But if things do start looking south, well, guess what? He's very much pinned in and isolated.
Geo on the Library stairs once again will be forced away, and we will see the Goyo shield burnt out of action. Bolo finds the opening kill this time onto Sexy Cake, taking the Hibana down, and TSM have once again got themselves a strong start inside of this one. They are looking to keep hold of that top floor for the time being. They've got the Wamai of Bolo playing on mezzanine. He's been very difficult. He's been a consistent feature throughout this one, holding on to that mezzanine position. We can see you've got the Frostmat over there on the office breach wall, just looking to prevent any access to that balcony area as PSK. He's got himself inside. He's going to keep trying to play out of this office breach, but right now he's held in place. Palu manages to find a kill onto Gio. Shut down as Bolo drops down to the lower level and finds a kill to trade it out. Merc gets one as well on the Aruni. That's Moringa down. Nesk, he starts fighting back by getting the trade. 15 seconds left to go as the time is ticking by on the final defensive round for TSM here. Nesk, he's got some work to do. He's moving into sight. Shut down by Bolo for the last few of his hit points. 3 seconds left to go. Surely it's over. It is as Charlotte finds the kill onto PSK, and that's going to close out round 6. And TSM, they've leveled things up at 3-3.
Remind me, came in on 176, so 24 kills Bolo needs to get in this series to pass over the mark. He got 14 on the first map. How many kills is he on this map, Tim? Because I know you've got the stats in front of your face. What's he currently sat on if we step over to our live stats tab?
I don't think it'll necessarily include the last round, because I'm not sure it's gone up.
Was it across the whole series, is it showing us? Yeah, it looks like it is.
At the minute, yes.
Okay, so with the last round there, 3 more. He is 4 kills short of also breaching 200 at an SI then. That'll be, what, 3 players? Because I think Palu will also step over the line.
This is wild.
Palu, Nesk, Bolo.
I mean, it just goes to show the quality that we're seeing here at SI 2021. The fact that we're in a position, you know, obviously we've had, well, we can look at it and say, well, there's been a format change. You know, teams have played 9 group stage games. Yep. But as I pointed out last time, we remember Pino in SI 2020, 196 kills. He played 21 maps in SI 2020. So we're talking, this is the 20th map for these teams. So we're not talking about, you know, a huge shift in loads of extra maps. Yes, once one of them have gone on and played another couple of games, that might be the case. But we are at this point actually talking as a relatively direct comparison back to SI 2020. And the fact is that the kills are much higher here, and these players, they're just going from strength to strength. Maybe
a sign of the more attacking meta that we're stepping into. A lot of people saying that right now the game is moving towards that attacker-leaning feel, the defenders, things like the heavy shield setups, the utility meta, when it was kind of gutted, is no longer so prevalent, but it does enable a bit more fraggy kind of play, makes the game feel a lot more fluid. And in fact, a lot of pros have commented that the current meta feels incredibly enjoyable, and I completely agree, to be honest. Anyway, stepping into the second half, it's going to be TSM on the attack, the 0, which the Des mentioned earlier on, being brought along here. More very useful for extra info on the attacking side. So, of course, being able to pop it on doorways, on soft walls, on windows, you name it. You can just leave them there all round and use it to cover flanks for your team, for example, or feed you information later in the round. Of course, your dead teammates, I think being able to keep a close eye on them is going to give you a whole load of help. Another one coming in here at the bottom inside a trophy is going to be able to help cover any flanks too. So, Charla getting very busy to work on those to begin with.
Bolo looking to pressure on the vertical angle already underneath there with the Zafira. He finds one, but Charla beats him to it with a kill on to PSK there. 5 versus 4 as TSM come in strong on the entry once again. But once again, it's Palu fighting back as he finds the trade. Palu gets traded by Bolo, though. This is back and forward. It's like a piece of elastic just bouncing one end to the other from TSM to Team Liquid and back again as we sit directly in the middle. 3 versus 3 as it is. 3 versus 2 as Gio finds Sexy Cake. Des, I can't take many more trades. We've got another one here. 2 versus 2 and we're only halfway through the round.
Absolute chaos stepping out. The 2 versus 2 and 90 seconds to play means that you can breathe a little bit here, boys. Moringa has still got 2 smoke canisters to play behind as well. No massive fear, but achieved with 2 grenades in the back pocket. Keep a close eye on where those might get swinging. As I say it, he pulls one out. One gets popped out on the other side, but there's going to be a magnet to catch it out. So both of those have now been burnt through, and no one will be going down on either side. But it does open things up for Merc to step through. The fear of God being struck into Moringa in case there's anything else to follow. Breaching around from below, revealing the floor, and maybe there's some contest to be having from below here, but imagine it's going to be a push up. 30 seconds of elapsed ace, 60 still to play with.
Merc just keep him playing around those solarium stairs. Going to get onto the drone now. I think he was just concerned about being challenged potentially. Sees the man inside a bathroom, knows that Moringa is playing in there, but it's going to be a difficult one to challenge because it is on such a close quarters engagement, and Moringa has got the shotgun in hand. It's 2 versus 2, and any kill here could be a massive factor in who wins this round because it leaves the other in a 1vx situation. The clock is ticking down, and right now TSM, they need to get moving. They need to do something. Achieve takes out the cam before he just jumps out of the office breach window there to move around and try and potentially just try another angle of attack. Merc, he's searching for anybody. Team Liquid doing a great job of keeping themselves out of sight as Moringa pops up from behind the piano and plays a tune as he gets the kill. Nesk finishes the round with a kill onto Achieved. No matter how much he skulked and tried to move around to a new angle, he could not fox Nesk, who gets that final kill and closes out the round for Team Liquid 4-3, and the Brazilians keep on fighting.
Marching on forwards, out of sight, out of mind, the best way I can describe it. When you've got your cursor just scanning across the head of someone, you start thinking this really should be a kill that Merc finds there. Unfortunately, not to be the case. It started with a bit of chaos and then descended into this very kind of quiet, calm 2v2, like a duo sort of game rather than a full-on team thing. Great shot from Nesk in the first instance, and look at that, had all the time in the world to shoot him first, but Merc, a little bit absent there, didn't spot the man against the back wall, and Liquid pull ahead. Defensive round wins. They feel quite rare to take on this map, but finding one in your first defensive round, absolutely zero complaints from the Liquid camp.
So we head into round 8, Des. Round 8, and there isn't a round to separate them. Are you going to say it, or am I?
You could say it.
This one looks like it could be.
I had it in the last one. I
wouldn't be surprised to see this one go to overtime. 4-3 for Team Liquid at the minute, and it has been very close. The reason that I mention that, the reason that I say that, I'm not trying to just speak it into existence. It's because we've seen this constant back and forth. I'm not, Des, really, I'm not. We've seen this constant back and forth. Nobody has been able to get a substantial and significant lead here in this one. They've both kept themselves very much in touch. And to be honest, Des, it's something that we're starting to see as a real factor for TSM. Remember yesterday against Oxygen, I said exactly the same. It was close, but TSM just had that extra 5%. And they seem to be doing the same thing. They are keeping it close, keeping it close, keeping it close, and then at the last second, round 12, bang, there they go, they get the win, and they just bring out that extra few percent. And that is a very important quality in a team in this format of tournament.
You're speaking about the 5% sort of statement yesterday, in that how some rounds were nail-bitingly close. Kafe earlier was a great example, but sometimes teams just eke out that little bit extra to get you over the finish line, often in the form of just hitting those shots, a small fragment beforehand. And in fact, someone commented earlier on that they've seen teams using alternative grips, vertical and angled, of course, the ones that we're talking about there, saying those 300 milliseconds when you're not using the right grip can really come back to bite you, especially in the rapid nature of games and gunfights like this. Bolo definitely lost out because of the wrong grip there, 100%. Not going to take anything else about it. 2 kills for Liquid to start the round. That's definitely get things moving. Achieved back onto Paolo, mind you, finally gets put in the dirt by PSK from up on the mezzanine. 4 versus 2 for Liquid and Ace. You're starting to feel a bit dicey about it, because if they start getting more rounds like these where they're getting the early kills and winning defensive rounds, you start to sweat a bit for TSM.
Chief's had quite a few important kills so far today. He's always seems to come in at the right time to try and turn the floor, but he's been unsuccessful here. It really needed somebody to sort of double down on it and try and back him up with another one, but they were unable to. I need to sit down for a second.
I mean, take a seat, Ace, by all means, because that was absolutely filthy coming out of Geo. And he gets the plant coming in as well. Surely he saw the plants up. Oh, he does see him, but not before it gets confirmed. Charla's out, and like that, Liquid have won the round. It started a little bit filthy, but Liquid calling the janitor because they just cleaned up.
I gotta say, TSM almost deserved to win that round just off that kill from Geo. It was horrendous, but great play from Team Liquid. They didn't panic there. As you said, he can see the planter, but they weren't rushing to stop the plant because they knew they didn't need to. They were happy to take the retake, and this is something, again, that sort of newer viewers to Siege might not understand. Sometimes teams will actively play for a retake. They will actively give up possession of site. They will actively almost allow that that diffuser down so that they can come in and play on the retake because they are set up for it, because that is the most powerful thing to do at that moment in time. And that is exactly what Liquid have done there. They knew that the challenge to be made was to be made once that diffuser had gone down, and as he moves away, there you go, it doesn't matter, we've got both of the kills, we've got them lined up, and it's job done. Well played, Team Liquid.
That's them set up 5-3, and rightly so. On TSM side, they call the tactical timeout. They want a discussion. This was their map pick, a map that, again, they have not lost to any team outside of NA. The only team they have lost to on it inside this calendar year has been Oxygen. It's their map. They are 5-1 in record on it in total, but right now seem to be challenged by Team Liquid's defense. Maybe it's the capability, as we spoke about so many times over, of players like Palu and Nesk doing absolute work. And I've got to give a shout out to a player that doesn't normally always get recognized as well, Moringa, doing a lot of work on this map, joining in those early entry tools. You wouldn't normally expect that from a support player, but also doing his fair share of work towards the back end of rounds as well. Definitely presenting a challenge to TSM. We need to dig deep here and come up with some new ideas.
I mean, how many times have we seen this as well, Des, that teams come in and they win the other team's first map and then they come back and they lose their own map? We've seen so many times the map pick being taken away from the team that chose it. And the thing to remember here is that these teams, they are very capable at playing on every single map inside the pool. So we come in saying, yeah, Chalet is TSM's pick. And yes, of course, you would expect them to be prepared for it. That's why they wanted to play it. You would expect them to come in there comfortable and confident in order to lock that out. But it's by no means a guarantee. It's, you know, these teams are all well practiced. Team Liquid will have scrimmed Chalet plenty of times. They'll know what it's about, and they're coming in here and showing that. And there isn't huge margins between the teams on each map. Of course, teams do get well known for a few good results or a few good performances or having a particularly useful strategy on a map, but it certainly is by no means a guarantee.
One thing worth noting, I think, in the previous round was after 90 seconds as well, Charla still had 3 SAM cams in the back pocket, or Argus cams as they're more officially called, but SAM cams sounds far more fun, as initially dubbed, I believe, by the NA casting team. I think in the spot where you've taken 3 early gunfights and lost out, you're not really being too critical of the fact that they're still in the back pocket. But I think with the addition of the Jackal, it's just screaming that the information game for TSM is what has been lacking. They want to catch out where these players are, set up some pinches, hunt down the roamers, again looking towards players like Sexy Kate, towards Palu, Nesk, who have been giving them absolute headaches on the roam so far. So I'm looking to see where all of those trackers are used. The INOT scanner by Merc should come in big this round, assuming they get him in the right position at the right time.
Charla on the 0, as picked up by Milosh previously. We've seen him using it an awful lot, especially here on Chalet, so he's going to get 2 of those SAM cams out now, and you can see there the single-use bolt going out to take out the default cam, and it is a small little alternative potential to Thatcher as well, able to take out things like mute jammers, bandit batteries if necessary, but in this case just being used to deny information as well as to give it. Now Bolo, he's moving through library but gets shut down by Nesta, who's at the top of library stairs with the Aruni. A great start for him. Sexy Cake on the mezzanine, just looking to apply pressure into library as well. And so far, the TSM push into that area of the map has just faltered a little bit. There is one man still in there. I think it is achieved. It is. He's looking to gain anything that he can out onto the mezzanine, but Sexy Cake, after giving him one small opportunity, is no doubt going to keep himself out of the way. In fact, I think he drops and rotates and gets the kill onto Charla, but shut down ultimately by Achieved as he does move back across. He must not have been aware that there was a man on the rotate, on the little peak hole there out of library onto mezzanine.
He moved in front of him a couple of times, but Achieve missed the first shot, and I'm just kind of surprised that Sexy Kate didn't immediately respond and try and challenge him off the back of it. But 10 seconds later, does go for just that, and unfortunately walks away the loser. They've still got a player at the top of library stairs. We spoke about this earlier on, that sometimes it can be a little bit far to extend into library itself, but at least holding the perimeter around it does make it a rough entry into the map for TSM. It's not safe to step inside a library whilst those players are present. The Inox ringing out, Achieve aware that there is someone above his head right now. Doesn't need to worry about taking the challenge just yet. With that Inox still ticking out, they at least know that someone is nearby. Pala finally being taken out by Merc. 3 versus 3, 45 seconds, Ace. We know how this works in favor of the defenders, especially when Moringa has still got all 3 smoke canisters.
Merc taking a lot of damage there. Nesk is low health as well, but this, for me, Des, is a must-win round for TSM here. They've got 3 versus 3 and 30 seconds to turn their fates around here on Chalet. If Team Liquid get themselves onto match point, it's unlikely that they give it up now. Then Moringa has to react quickly. He gets shots onto 1, but then is challenged by Achieve rushing up from the basement. Great timing, but Geo was downed. Diffuser is in hand from Mercs. Moringa goes down. Merc has the opportunity to put the diffuser down on the ground. Achieve finishes the kill. It's all up to Nesk. 2 versus 1 stops the diffuser going down. 1 versus 1. Achieve sees him and gets the kill. He gets the kill onto Nesk, and TSM fight their way back into this one in another back and forth round.
Oh, an explosive final second round as well. 3 versus 3 at 45 seconds, and it comes down to that. That is massive for TSM. If they had lost that round, it's 6 and 3. At that point, you're basically signing off. You're giving the game over to the other side and thinking, surely it's difficult for them to come back into it. But my God, a close round, 5 and 4. What could have been a 3-round gap ends up being just a 1 round. Let's see how things progress as we now step into Master and Office for round number 10. I love how close these games are, Ace.
Me too. I mean, Sexy Kate just commanding that mezzanine area again, managing to get himself a kill onto Chalet, but ultimately shut down by Achieved. And it just goes to show time after time why it is an important area of this map. We are guaranteed almost 12 rounds. There's 1 more for TSM, and that'll take us to 12. Achieved up out of his seat, and that's the passion, Des. That's what we want to see. That is what it means to these players. It is the emotions right on the edge.
Talking of emotions, if TSM win this and go on to face off against MIBR, knowing how vocal Bodega is, I wonder if he gets in the heads of the TSM boys at all. It will be incredible.
I think one thing to remember is, you know, to these guys, you know, this is... It's just another tool, you know, it's just another weapon in the armory. It's another tool in the toolbox. And as Julio said, they take it with a pinch of salt.
This is the thing, right?
Both players on either side know exactly what's going on. They know what they're trying to do, and the second that they let them get into their head, they're letting it work. And so you've just got to laugh it off and think, on we go.
I mean, this is it. Now, Julio said, you know, they always kind of shake hands afterwards. Obviously, can't shake hands here, but what no one would have seen off camera is MIBR. All of them got out of the seats, thumbs up, you know, well played, boys. You know, really appreciated the game.
Yep.
There's no love to be broken there between those teams. They're all still really good friends in the region. There's nothing hateful coming out of it, so please don't sweat and think that it's a bad one. Merc with a he always says, I like getting in the chat and working in their heads, and he's getting inside of Paolu's right now, finding him with the 1-tap quite comfortably.
Watch this.
Look at it. See
there was just no challenge from Paolu, really. He moved across the window.
There was. He shot. He's down to 75 HP. It could have been a headshot. It would have been the kill going the other way.
That's very true.
Sit down, Ace. Righty, 5 versus 4 for TSM, a good advantage.
Sound like Merc in the chat.
Oh, don't I just GN, don't type again, don't talk again, TY. And he says the same again. Bolo, this time catching out Sexy Cake, who was on a bit of a random rotate from the top of Library. I think he was hoping he could get back to his team before they pushed too deep into Library, but clearly mistimed that one ever so slightly.
A bomb has been located.
Bolo's going to hold that angle for the time being. The silhouette is behind a hard wall, so he's not going to move in and get a kill, don't worry. The Team Liquid are just holding onto Piano for the time being. Gio's going to look to open up that office breach and gain access into the half-wall plant in sight for the time being. Team Liquid have been forced back really deep here. You can see all the way back into Master Bathroom and Piano. It's time for them to do something, and that something comes from Nesk in the form of an unbelievable headshot onto Merc. He must have had some information, Des. It's a common spot for somebody to hold the angle, but that pre-fire was just unreal.
Where was the question mark in chat? I want to know. Make him sit down.
Should have hit him with it.
Make him pay for earlier on. It would have been the great one to respond. The duo come in and saying, you're going to bully my little brother? Well, I'm here. I'm big brother, ready to bully you back. Either way, 4 versus 4, and the run out from Nesk as well.
Nesk's on one.
He's doing it all here. Achieves also in the mud, but a plank going down from Gio. Can they see the long angle? No. Charla finding it first. They've pushed in through the breach and with it back behind the half wall. This should be secured by Gio. Out comes another smoke here. They're trying to stop it, but it's not going to happen. TSM get away with the plan and secure the kill to close the round out. They've drawn things back up to 5 apiece. Once again, Ace, same as on Kafe, we've got a game on our hands.
We are going all the way to 12 rounds, and Team Liquid right now, Des, they have got 2 rounds. They have got 2 chances to save themselves inside of the 6 Invitational 2021. Those are the stakes right now. It does not get bigger than this for the Brazilian team. No more mistakes, Des. They don't want to take this to overtime. They don't want that risk. They don't want to be having to try and close this out in a best of 3 rounds. They want to get this locked down 7-5 and on to that final map. With that in mind, they've hit the tactical timeout, Des. Liquid have just hit the brakes. They've tried to put a pause on TSM. They're trying to break the momentum, and they're trying to fix whatever the problem is quickly so they can get these last 2 rounds over the line.
We've spoken about timeouts a couple of times in this competition and around the drastic change it can have in the following round. For TSM, happened a couple of rounds back. They brought 2 back. Now Liquid are using their chance to say, okay, what can we do to flip this over? You can see Mitty, their coach, stood behind them. It was Bob who was with them last year. This time around, it is Mitty, and he's having a conversation to help the boys get their mental reset. For a number of teams, it's about calming you down again, getting the kind of any confusion in the team worked out, communication issues, or just sharing, look, boys, back to basics. Remember the fundamentals. Let's go from square one and work it forward. Liquid have shown already that they can work magic like in their first 2 defensive rounds. They would hate to see this slip to TSM now, given that Kafe ended up in almost an exactly identical situation. Both teams at 5-5, and TSM went on to win the next 2 rounds.
Everybody take a breath. Everybody make sure you sat comfortably. Just let your heart rate slow down a little bit, because we are...
Aces hits 200.
It's for my own safety, Des.
Stretch it out, Ace, you got this.
We are coming into round 11. Don't you worry, the energy and hype is going absolutely nowhere, because this game right now, it is off the chart, Des. It is right up there, and these could be 2 historic rounds here. It could be Team Liquid on the way to their first ever World Championship inside of Siege, or it could be them crashing and burning and going home out of the lower bracket, and TSM marching on with that North American flag held high.
5 seconds left before insertion.
The stories are what we live for. And to think this is the 3rd last game of SI, we've got 1 more in the morning. We've then got the grand finals coming after the operation reveal. It's going to be incredible tomorrow. Make sure you don't miss it. Mute Jammers stacked up to the north already to kick things off, which I like. It's going to impede that push through Solarium a little bit, and hopefully, at least for the side of Liquid, give them a bit more time to play with later in the round, because TSM were quite good at wasting time in the first half for a few of their rounds and forcing Liquid into these difficult late round scraps. Admittedly, Liquid have brought it close a couple of times, just sadly achieved hits a little bit better when that clock hits 1 second remaining and manages to get it over the finish line.
This is it, the calm before the storm that will be the next 2 rounds. We've got 2 players from Team Liquid up on the top floor for the time being. They're going to have to be dealt with by TSM. They can't ignore them. They need to find them, otherwise they will get hit on the flank in the late round. There is no 2 ways about it. And we've spoken about the importance of vertical control for a bar and game room site. That's something they need to be aware of, and something they need to be aware of, Dez's Merc, as he removes the head from the shoulders of Palu. The Malusi just strolling in front of him. Palu absolutely no idea that he'd pushed in through the single window. It's such a common point of ingress, Des. You gotta be ready for that one.
Merc is just taking heads on the entry. It was the same back on Kafe. We spoke about it there. I vocalized again that in groups I was concerned about him and achieved not quite hitting the mark when it came to getting those sharp, crisp entry kills like you see from Nesk in a few of these rounds. Well, he's definitely woken up and changed that one, because he is hitting so many critical shots to give TSM the early advantage. It either feels like he starts out with the entry kill or Ness walks in and kills 3 people. There's no in between.
There really isn't at this point in time. Merc, he relocates. He's on the Jackal, so he can get inside, use that Inox scanner and see if he can just pick up any footprints. There is still a man inside of Library, but if he hasn't moved recently, if he's just kept himself locked in the corner, there might not be anything for the Jackal to pick up. Nesk gets a kill onto Gio, Nesk gets another onto Achieved. This is turning into the Nesk show, Des, as he gets another double here. We've got 15 kills on the scoreboard for him. Bolo finds one onto Moringa, shuts him down. Calm down, Bolo. Don't go taking pop shots at Merc. They can see each other. Merc's holding the angle. He's cutting off the rotate from Library Stairs, but the problem is there's still one above. Nesk finds Bolo. Merc, you can't stop him if he doesn't come down the stairs. There you go. That's 4 for Nesk. Can he find a fifth? Yes, he can, Des. That is the ace from Nesk when Team Liquid have never needed it more. 3 kills from the Library Stairs, and he has just educated TSM.
4 kills, I think that might have been from those stairs. Most of them with a shotgun. Like, I don't understand why Merc's stepping forward knowing that he's just killed your teammate from on the stairs, thinking, oh, it's fine. He'll definitely have rotated off after 3 kills. Well, clearly you don't know him well enough. He just sits there all day long. A great starting kill coming out in this spot. Then one steps up. Oh, okay, it's a 5 versus, it's a 4 versus 4. Sorry, grenade comes in. Another kill from above. Someone else steps up. Here comes a new challenger. Nesk, still the reigning champion. Quad kill into the final one. Charla, really the only one I felt that paid him any kind of respect on those stairs. The others, barely even looking at him. All too simple to get them over the finish line. And you can see what it means to him as well. The boys are absolutely ecstatic. 6-5 to Liquid. One more round and 2 of our maps will have gone to 7 and 5. Overtime will have only just about evaded us, but there is still time for it to happen. If TSM take this round, we get our first overtime in this series, Ace.
This is exactly the sort of tie that was deserving of these two teams, Des. They have been 2 behemoths inside of the 6 Invitational so far. They have given us some of the greatest entertainment, some of the biggest moments that we've seen, and this is exactly the sort of battle that we deserve between these two. Both of them throwing down here and not leaving a single thing on the field. TSM, you've got Nesk on Library Stairs, Des. There's a call out.
Just stop. Just say, you've just got Nesk.
There's a call out. Nesk on Library Stairs. Second kill. Nesk on Library Stairs.
Right. So we've got Bolo window on Kafe.
It's Nesk on Library Stairs.
We can shorten that a little
You've
bit.
got to get in there and dislodge him.
Well, you can't really be like, oh, Ace is on, Nesk on Library Stairs. That's not a call out. But you can just call it Nesk.
Nesk's there.
Nesk's on Nesk or Ace is on Nesk. You know, that's the way you can play these things out. They're meant to be nice and short and sweet to say things out loud. Either way, let's step into it. 30 seconds in, no early chaos, which has been a nice thing about this series. It's been very composed compared to the high-paced aggression brought out of NIP in there.
What?
Good night. Didn't even see that one coming, did he? Sexy K just having his head clean blown off by Bolo. That's not the first time we've seen a member of TSM push from that window, though. You think he would have expected it after losing out, I believe it was to Merc or Achieved earlier on, pushing him from the same spot. Took the challenge and didn't quite win it out, and here we go.
Oh.
Bam! As easy as they come. They line up, you see the pixels change colour, you press left mouse button, people die. It's that easy.
We've spoke about the importance of the mezzanine spot and clearing it out that early in the round. That could be a real positive for TSM here if they're looking to push towards overtime, which they absolutely certainly will be. They need to keep themselves. They don't want to go to a third map. That's not the sort of thing you want to do against Team Liquid, but the problem is they might have got Sexy Kate, they haven't got Nesk yet. The challenge continues as Bolo comes off worse for wear. Nesk does take a little bit as well and gets shut down. That surely is the moment in the round for TSM. 5 versus 3 now, top floor control almost theirs. I was just about to say as there is just Palu to clear out, but you can never think of it as just Palu. He is just as capable of putting in an ace as Nesk is. He sees the drone, he knows he's going to be challenged. He uses the Oryx dash to get himself away.
Oh, why'd you come back?
He repeats the door and gets shut down by Bolo, who was hot on his heels. 5 versus 2 TSM. Des, they're taking us all the way.
Oh.
This is going to overtime.
It's got to go to overtime unless PSK Moringa can do something special. Bolo been pretty quiet for most of this map, considering how well he played in the previous one. Been a while since a multi-kill from him. Makes it a quad. Can he answer Nesk? No, he cannot. Charla takes it off him, but it's still 4 kills for Bolo. TSM force us through to overtime. This is what we turned up to see, Ace. We're getting something magic before our very eyes.
At that point, you do not mess about. If you're Chalet, you put that kill down if you get the opportunity. It is as simple as that. You don't worry about Bolo being on an ace. This is to keep yourself fighting for the 6th Invitational title. There will be absolutely no problem in that.
And that is, I believe, with that quad kill, him also stepping over the mark of 200 kills. Remember, he came in today on 176. He is now on 26 kills after the conclusion of that round.
102.
That's not a bad 4K to have to go, hey, here's me submitting my card to step in.
In fact, it'll be a few more. I think they're just getting
203.
our stats update as we go, so they will catch up as we, I don't think we've got all 4 of them registered on there yet, but showing 203, 27 for the day across 2 maps. Unbelievable.
And that's for Nesk. Bolo at the top of the screen on 26. Even I looked at the bottom.
I think it switched the teams.
Yeah,
it was on top and it switched.
That confused the living hell out of me. I don't know if it's on round difference or something. I don't know. Either way, it's the magic that CGG do for us. Thanks very much for your help on that one, guys. We really appreciate the live stats, and I hope you're listening and hearing how thankful we are. Let's get started then into overtime. Liquid start on the defense, Ace. Does that concern you?
It has to. I mean, it has to concern any Liquid fan at least. I am a true neutral here, Des. You know, it's
You neutral?
whoever wins, be it LATAM, be it North America, I am absolutely neutral in this situation. But the attackers have had the run of things so far. I mean, I say that, but Team Liquid have had a good few defences. It's been 3-3. One round you've got to not discount for Liquid, but it took an ace to get it over the line. It's not to say they wouldn't have won it without it, but it was a big factor, obviously, a huge factor. So, you know, they need to be reliant then on those sort of performances. They need big moments from their remaining players.
But equally, the last one also took a 4K from Bolo.
Very true. And this is my point. It needs those big moments. It needs players to really step up now, as they have been doing throughout this game. This is the time where you really forge a legend of yourself, where you start getting these maps over the line and getting them closed out, because they are not easy. Sexy Cake starts things off with damage onto Merc, finished off by guess who, Des? It's Nesk once again. Headshot with the SMG this time. He is just roaming around and picking people up at will.
The LATAM laser beams with the SMGs, Ace. We were warned coming into this one. Many a player in EU, especially the high-ranked ones, were saying it's actually terrifying to play against some of these LATAM players who just do not miss with the SMG, and maybe that's exactly the sort of fun that Nesk is having. He's got a C4 to play behind if he wants it too. 2 people are rammed by Bolo here on his watch to manage to get back safely. Nice try to cut out the rotate back to safety, I think, but at least now for Liquid, having found 1 kill and burnt 90 seconds, they're all the happier to step back down to the south side of the map and play it safe.
Sexy Cake is just going to lock himself into sight now. He will just set up shop there, and that is where he will try to remain for the rest of the round. Nesk is once again on those library stairs. These lessons have been learned, I'm sure, from TSM. They are not going to try and push towards this site until Nesk has been dealt with. The problem that they might find is how long it takes them to do that. We are 2 minutes into the round, and the top floor clearance is still not complete yet. Nesk is in situ behind that deployable shield and almost daring them to challenge onto him. He's waiting for this opportunity to come, and with 45 seconds left, it's going to have to come sooner rather than later.
It's going to be a bloodbath again, Ace. 40 seconds and 9 men still stand on the field here. There is going to be absolute slaughter in the dying seconds as 2 have dug themselves inside of the stock room at the very bottom of your screens. 1 on side of site and 1 currently in basement. TSM stand on the top floor and now need to make the move. They've got 20 seconds to get the hatch opened up and make the push. Bolo bringing down Sexy Cake. 4 versus 4 and 20 seconds yet to play with as the smokes start being deployed. There are still 2 C4s remaining for Liquid here. They are just daring TSM to step into their line. PSK finding 1, great return fire coming out, steps into more shots. Nesk puts 1 more down, but they're looking the wrong way. It's a double kill coming out from Moringa in the bitter end of things. TSM, they lose it out. Liquid move to map point.
Moringa closing us out there with 2 kills on the shotgun to finish things off. Team Liquid, with a successful defensive bar and game again, find themselves now 7-6. It is, of course, best of 3 rounds here in overtime, so they will need another one yet. It is the first to 8 rounds. Nesk, I don't want to just keep shouting him out because there's so much more going on in this side, Des, but he's just so reliable, coming in again when they need him and getting 2 kills in the round. It's just so consistent.
I mean, he's putting on a show is possibly the only real way I can describe this now. To say we aren't going home yet, you called out at the very start of the day, it would be ludicrous for Nesk or Palu, with all they've done, the sort of numbers they're putting up, to not walk home with the hammer at some point would be a crime.
There's no other way to put it, Des. There is no... The real heartbreaker is, and it's much like any other sort of competitive sport or esport or anything else, we're getting to a point in Siege, or I think we're way beyond the point in Siege, to be fair, where you'll look across the teams now and look at how many players seem to, or feel like they've got that status that this player should be winning the hammer at some point. This player should be taking this. And there's just not enough time for them all, Des. There's not enough time for all the rosters to win year after year before things change significantly is the real point. You know, you look at, you know, this may be Bolo's year. By next year, things could look completely different and the opportunity might not present itself again. And that just really stresses the importance of these tournaments year to year, where a team has a good run. You've got to take that chance. You've got to grasp it with both hands, Des.
Let's see how this attack shapes up there for Liquid. Looking to close it out here and now at 8 and 6. Let's not go to the heartbreaker that can be round 15 for one of these teams. Given the site they're attacking, down towards Kitchen, normally you will look to open up the Hell Wall, the one that looks straight inside of Dining itself. And with that gives you real long angles looking straight up inside of Kitchen, as well as the hallway that goes up towards West Main. It makes it incredibly difficult for the attackers to play inside of that spot, but the attackers playing on Heaven Wall, formerly known by a different name, but thanks to a few comments by a certain someone on Twitter, shall no longer be called that name, they're in a spot to be able to contest on the top floor as well. And if you do get the Hell Wall opened up, well, guess what? You're going to have hell rain down on you from above inside of Heaven, and you'll find yourself in a spot of difficulty to actually make a plan happen. Down below, though, Nesk is getting underneath and shooting out the mute jammer, which should make it a bit easier to open up. Open the top, then you can work on opening out the bottom once you've forced out the tail. My God, really? SEK bolting out, and Merc running like an absolute buck there, but then he gets counter-ed by Palu, who puts him in the dirt. They should be able to recover Sexy Cake, but here comes Achieved. He really wants to complete this kill, I think, as another one comes out to get him up, and now I think it's a good time to say, all right, we lose out on this one, let's get ourselves safe, as Moringa gets Sexy Cake back on his feet.
A war of attrition there with TSM coming off worse for wear, but Bolo, he finds an important kill with a headshot onto Ness. That takes the IQ off the board. Not only important in that it's Ness that has gone, but also the fact that the IQ is out of the running. So with 1 minute and 10 seconds left to go, any electronic gadget should pretty much remain safe now, but PSK finds the kill onto Achieved. This could be it. No, Bolo fights back. TSM, they're not ready to lose Chalet just yet. Bolo steps up with a kill onto the bathroom window. 3 versus 2. 55 seconds left to go. There is an age left inside of this round so far. There is still the opportunity for PSK and Moringa to do this. Moringa, he gets the Inox track, and that will start to ping out one of the remaining TSM players. Bolo, he's just going to hold an angle onto those solarium stairs for the time being. 35 seconds left to go. Work to be done, but it's still possible for Team Liquid. I've got a feeling though, Des, I've got a feeling this one's going to 15.
It's going to a frost bat in case there's a frost on the field and they're late into the round where they haven't had time to do a full clear. I would not be surprised to see one of these players jump into one here. I think it's going to be so difficult to take the firefight. He knows, I think, with that ping on the front of the window, at least knows there might be one there. There is not. Can get himself inside. They've got this north side set up, but a C4 from Bolo, a spray down from Gio. Round 15 on Chalet. It spins on a dime for Team Liquid. You lose this round, you're going home. You win it, you're going through to Oregon. Imagine if it all ends here. I don't know who'll be more heartbroken, the boys or you.
I'm absolutely...
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're a true neutral. Yeah,
I am a true neutral.
Sorry, forgot about
What I will say is, genuinely, I am really enjoying the performance out of TSM. Bolo, particularly, is putting on a masterclass right now. And having Bolo and Nesk both throw down like this inside of the same map is absolutely unbelievable entertainment. And that is the true fact there. That is what I am really enjoying inside of this one. TSM, they've got the opportunity, Des. This is their match point, not just the map point. This one would be it. This one would push them forward into that lower bracket final meetup against MIBR. There is the possibility for them to do it. They come in on the attack. Team Liquid have been solid on the defense so far. They got the first overtime round on defense. There is 3 minutes that stands between TSM and moving forward in the tournament. There is 3 minutes that stands between Team Liquid and having an opportunity to keep fighting.
The call out apparently is in now, Tim. That wall is to be called Fluke.
Okay.
That's what we're going with. It's going to be Fluke for this round. No more time for a new call-out to step in than in arguably the most important round in Team Liquid's career. Let's not forget, they have never got this far at SI before. To go home now would be absolutely heartbreaking. They want to carry on with their friends from Latom to play against them in the next round. MIBR wait for them there. It would be NIP in the grand final. I'm sure there's many who think they could do it, but TSM look to end that fairy tale here and now and start creating their own as they become one of the final 3 teams still here at the 6 Invitational. It's kitchen and dining where everything is shaping up. Take a deep breath, Ace. I can see you rubbing your head. I know this one's painful. I can see what it's coming down to because we know that hearts could break in this round. 6 of them, plus many more watching around the world is the way that it can shape out. No early kills coming out for Nesk or Bolo. They're always the ones that we're looking out for. And Merc especially, on the right day, can find himself one. Moringa almost being taken down.
That's an early blow delivered by TSM there as Moringa is on low health. Has to duck out of the way of that nade, but does fantastically well. Just manages to time it with the rappel of his enemy there so that he doesn't get spotted out through the window. Gonna just keep himself locked into the stairs for the time being, but needs to be careful because they are fully aware of his location. He's stuck at this point, Des. He can't move past the windows. Chalet is gonna hold him there on the stairs. Sexy Kate gets Bolo. That is a big kill for Team Liquid. That is a step towards that final map, that decider on Oregon if these go to 3. But there is still 1 minute 40 here for Team Liquid to hold on. They need to find more kills. They need to hold back the tide of the TSM attack. And who else but Nesk to step up when needed most and get a headshot onto achieved 5 versus 3. And we are barely halfway through the round. Team Liquid, they are grasping a hold of Chalet here and they are loath to let go.
Charla almost losing his life as well. It would have put him down to just a 5 versus 2, but keeps himself going for a little longer. 1 minute and 10 stands between them and a map 3. Nesk steps up, massive kill, makes it 22. All the 2s to close out map number 2. It's almost like it's written in the stars. 2 more to go, and we go to map 3. Oregon will wait to be the decider between these 2 teams on whose journey ends here and now. Sexy Cake on the vertical, daring him to step forward, but it's not going to happen. Charla, he sees defeat but can't find the kill. Knows that one's at the top of library. He's almost pinned it in here between a rock and a hard place. There's bathroom and there is library. The step out comes through. Talk about a way to send a message. A flawless round for Liquid. We go to map number 3.
Team Liquid keep fighting inside of this lower bracket matchup of the 6 Invitational 2021. They huddle together. The team bond is strong as they push forward to Oregon. We're going to see 3 TSM. Plenty of fight left in them. There is an age to settle this yet, Des.
Well, boys and girls, grab yourself some popcorn, grab a coffee, whatever it is that's going to get you through our 3rd map and the final one of the day. We're going to go to a quick break. See you in a few.
What does it take to create a secure community? Join us on the 2nd episode of I Call Next as we discover how to protect what's most important and enable worry-free play.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What an incredible map 2, I have to say. Our 2 games so far today could be grand finals on their own, but it only gets better from here. Chalet back and forth between the two. Nesk with an ace, Bolo with a 4K the round after to keep it going. What more action can you ask for?
Milos, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 multi-kills in this one game here. 8 times someone got more than 3 kills. It's
that is
insane, absolutely. Especially given the fact that when I said it at the start, there shouldn't be a way that Liquid win this, right? Because TSM, NA hasn't lost it yet to any other region. They lost it twice themselves, and it is again very close, 8-7. But this time the coin flips their way.
It was just an amazing game of Siege. It was everything that you sort of wanted because everybody's able to show up. They're putting in this big bit of work. Okay, Merc slightly suffered in this engagement. He wasn't quite able to dig his toes and his feet into the fights as much as he wanted. I think I'm going to say the 2 missing icons from the previous game was Nesk and Parlu. They weren't really massively present.
23-8.
The first map. Yeah, they're massively present now. They showed up with a massive presence. And it was needed. It was what Liquid was sort of baying for and hoping for. And it brought it out in such a big amount of force. The energy for them to step up into a map that, as we said, was previously unbeaten for NA as a region. It wasn't just that TSM were good at it. It's that you're going against... Okay, technically all the hopes of NA are left with TSM anyway, but you're still going up against that as a mantle, as a pedestal, as a problem, and they stepped it up.
The impressive thing with Liquid here is that they turned the entry kills to their advantage.
Yes.
And that is impressive on Chalet and I guess TSM.
It is. It definitely is. And I quickly want to highlight as well, last round, Bolo was on top. He was on top for TSM now as well. Keep this in mind, right? Nesk, over the series so far. 32 on 17. Bolo, 31 on 17. These two are coming up really close right here. It's literally a battle between these two. I even saw someone, I forgot who it was. Can we just have a best of 3 in 1v1s between Bolo and Nesk at this point?
I think. Hey! If you want to watch a Nesk versus Bolo only tournament,
imagine that.
Please tweet at us. Tell us what you think. Flood our social media manager with tweets saying, and I will take the idea completely for myself and share it with Hap as well.
Yeah, the next show match will just be 1 versus 1s.
I would want.
Honestly, that would be sick.
That would be
1v1 tournament.
A 1v1 tournament. Maybe some duos. Well, okay. We're
going off the rails.
We're giving too many ideas to the events team right now. So let's pull back and sell them later. But before that, we need to talk about this match because it was everything that we sort of needed from Liquid. And it wasn't that TSM weren't stepping up to the fight. They kept biting back. They kept being able to get a little bit more and push a little bit more. But off the back of that performance of Nesk, how do you stop someone that's on their day, on their moment, on that much of a tear?
Look, we looked at MIBR NIP and we said, my God, can any game even rival this? Yeah, these teams are fighting for every single inch. We talked about Chalet. Let's bring up the map bans again, just for everybody to refresh people's minds. We went through map number 1, Kafe Dostoyevsky. That was a 7-5 victory for TSM. Very close as well. Almost Liquid running it to overtime. Then 7-8. Loss for TSM, Liquid taking map 2 Chalet, great reversal. We go to map 3 Oregon. This is a map that Liquid historically are very comfortable on. The TSM also have found some success on it. What is there to look at? Because when it comes to pure motivation, I take a look at the Liquid guys and it's like looking into the face of a lion. Their teeth are out and they're ready to bite.
It is dangerous to give them the momentum that they have right now. That's for sure. Yeah, they've played it once throughout playoffs. A 7-3 win versus Empire. So they have that one going for them. But in the meantime, they have banned it twice as well throughout playoffs. So, they've either been trying to hide it as much as they possibly could. They've shown it once as the second map coming through. So it's still a question because their overall stats since the 1st of September are a 55-ish% win rate. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. So keep that in mind.
I think the thing about Oregon as well and where we're going to start to see the breakaway in the mold, and it was a conversation that we were having earlier, is why is Latin America looking so good at the minute in Siege? they were always a region that was one of those, sort of top 3 competitors out of EU, NA, and LATAM, but it wasn't as focal of the conversation. This time round, the development is the game that they've learned, is the skill of the game, is the tactics, is the development, the way that they have stepped up so much over the past year and a half, 2 years, in terms of the focus on that play with the gun skill that we already knew was, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was synonymous with the region. It was it was the brush that the region was painted in is some of the best, if not the best gun skill in the world, but the tactics was held over NA and EU at this point.
Now everything is there.
But now we're looking at Oregon.
It's not here anymore.
And that's the thing. No, but Oregon is this amalgamation. It's old Oregon's play with some new. It's that taste of classic Siege, which both these teams are obviously well aware of. NA has, as a region, some horror stories on old Oregon, but they also have great play on Oregon. They were a team they've had teams that were, by and large, undefeated on Oregon. So I guess the moral of the story is it going to be a little bit more of heat, if there's a way of kind of surmising it that way? I'm trying to find the right words to not put a blatant favorite on it, because that's what I'm trying to tell is there's so much prepped up right now.
Well, what do TSM remove from the board operator-wise to take down Liquid on this? Because it looked like Liquid are very comfortable in their selection, but then we're trying to kind of narrow things down. Okay, Oregon, most of the sites that we're seeing that top floor kids and basement defense. People are split, mostly going to the kitchen / stage as a third site. What do we need to look at here, Hap?
I think they're definitely going to be removing the mirror again.
TSM, that is.
TSM, that is. And if you're looking on the attack, well, you're checking the lineups, but it's very flexible on the side of Liquid. So I think you might be looking towards a Thatcher if Liquid leave it open. It might depend on who gets the first ban. If
would Liquid
TSM
leave it
gets,
open?
Well, I mean, I don't know, but I'm talking about like if we're talking first ban, if TSM gets that, they then have to take the risk of Liquid potentially saying, aha, we're not gonna ban it, you gotta do it yourself, so they might remove it in that case. Otherwise, well, they've banned Nomad sometimes, but then again, I'm not sure if Oregon is really the map where the Nomad comes in big, so.
Did the Nomad ban on Chalet help TSM or did it not?
I mean,
can this apply forward in Oregon? Because it looks like Liquid, as we kind of almost all know, like running around the map and try to find free picks.
That's when you want to keep that Nomad up,
yeah.
I would say.
What I will say about the Nomad in terms of the pick is sometimes with TSM's play, it's been a little bit hit and miss as to just how effective it's been. If teams are well prepared for it, or if Chalet's having a little bit of an off day or an off game, things haven't quite hit the mark as much. TSM sometimes get a bit dedicated and a bit devoted to that, and it takes one loose strand, which is why I think the energy that Merc brings is fantastic. I think the energy that Achieved can bring, or Bolo obviously when they're able to pop off, because it allows Chalet and it allows Geo that space to start focusing on their objective. The limitation worry though is Liquid don't do that as much. They are seemingly a bit sharper in terms of clearing a space, and they don't worry too much about the rest of the play space as much, seemingly.
That's something that actually was a Liquid problem a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Even before that, even in their early days. So Merc, as you talked about, I mentioned in the second map just before we started Chalet, great Maverick, but the caveat is, which is exactly what you highlighted,
Yes.
on defense, sometimes a bit of a loose cannon, and it cost TSM a couple of advantages during Chalet. TSM are actually starting on the defensive side for Oregon. However, Hap, if you'd like to dispel a lot of people's ideas about sides for maps,
Run the numbers.
If you ask, I will deliver.
I expect no less.
That's like is that one of your songs with your turtleneck?
Maybe it is. Who knows? Maybe
His name
I'll
is
drop an
Hap.
album soon.
His name is Hap. Steinhap.
Steinhap, yes, for sure. Oregon, 57% defense sided so far throughout SI.
Sites?
63% laundry, 60% dorms, and 41% meeting, and 44% dining. So
We've seen more meeting and dining in these two regions than we have the other split. I think it's small tower, to be honest. I think the way that we're seeing teams sort of aggress onto it has been, if we've seen them take over or try to hold on to the other kitchen side, the kitchen and the dining side, small tower is, and then it's
hard to take back as a defender.
100%, and this is what these two regions love to do.
Who's taking on MIBR after this?
You're asking.
I tossed my coin and it
Where's your
said
coin?
TSM.
Oh, I have Liquid
have
written
no
down.
idea.
I think we're going to have a top 3 full Latam.
I
We
did
probably
predictions
have.
at the beginning of the day, but we've all watched these games. Nothing is predictable.
Oh, we will. We will watch these games with both of our eyes peeled open. Hapfluke, thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're having as much fun as we are watching this game, and it only gets better. It is time for map number 3. We're going to go to Oregon, a classic map for Brazilian teams in general, but this one, it's Team Liquid with their region on their backs. Can the North Americans of TSM move forward to face off against MIBR and go to grand final where they were halted last year in that 3rd place, or can Team Liquid push it forward for Brazil? Oh, baby, I hope you're ready for this one. Oregon, it's Des, it's Ace. Enjoy.
Thank you very much once again, Milosh. Oregon. Any third map would have been just fine, Ace. But to go to Oregon, a map that Ace and I have got many a favourite moment on. Probably the best way I can think about it.
We've cast some of our best moments on there.
Challenger
Absolutely.
League, days full of it in casting. There's so many good memories on Oregon, and this is a fantastic map to round out what has been an absolute screamer of a series. A 7-5, an 8-7. It deserved a third map, and that's exactly what we're going to get between TSM and Liquid. There's so many stories we built up throughout this series about them both. No doubt we'll repeat them all as we get closer towards the bitter end of this series for one of the teams. But coming into it, this is probably the one map that I look at out of all of them and think, okay, a bit more balance here, because the first 2 maps we came in saying, really, you think for Kafe and Chalet, they're TSM leaning maps, but Liquid may have just changed the narrative on that.
They have, and the thing to remember, as you said, there's a lot of storylines going on here. There's big players, big names, lots of kills. There's all sorts going on. There's records being broken, but the only one that you really need to keep in mind right now is stay in the moment, stay focused, stay on Oregon. That's where we're going to take you. And one of these teams is going home at the end of this. This is winner takes all now. It's not about keeping yourself in it. It's not. This is winner takes all. It's not about getting to that next map. It's not about anything else other than keeping your place in the 6th Invitational and fighting through to that final day tomorrow, Sunday, where you will play against MIBR for a chance, a hope, to get into the grand final of the 6th Invitational 2021. Something that every Siege player dreams of.
All I'm going to say is it's going to be a mentally taxing day for whichever team makes it through. It is going to be an absolute war. And looking at the stats, by the way, just to kind of break down how this shapes up, Liquid have played this a lot recently. They played it against MIBR, lost it twice. Team 1 lost it there. BDS lost it here at SI. But have then also gone on to beat teams like Empire, G2, NIP they've even beaten here before. So there's history when you look at this game for this team, or on this map, sorry. For TSM, a couple of games played. I think we spoke about this a little bit earlier on. They beat BDS on it prior. They lost to Sonics back in the NAL. So both teams have played it. It's far from like top favourite for TSM, it's fair to say, but all things considered equal, I'm really excited to see how this shakes down. Bans have flown on through the Thatcher, the Buck, the Maestro, and the Wamai, Ace.
Okay then, nothing too sort of wildly out of the ordinary there. The book ban, we don't see loads of. It tends to be when Alamai's playing.
Oh, when Shaiko plays, because BDS you'll often see whenever they play this map, you'll always have Shaiko pushing in from the west side of the map with the buck from underneath. So more of a target ban to stop that sort of play coming out and basically ripping up the entire of kids' dorms to make it really hard to play inside of the site. That's the only reason you're seeing that banned away.
Yeah, it's just
no use for you downstairs when there's no soft flooring.
There isn't. There's one hatch, or two hatches. Sorry, two hatches. One laundry hatch.
What do we keep on seeing on this map?
In comes the Blitz, Des.
First we saw the Cabana, then we saw it yesterday. It was TSM who brought it out actually in their series, I believe. In fact, we even brought it up on the telestrator at the end of that series. They had 4 men pushing in through construction, and when the bait was set, the team was drawn towards it. Bolo comes charging down big tower stairs and slaughters 3 of the players that were standing inside a corridor. Let's see if it plays out the same way, but here it's Liquid pulling it off, and they've also got the Lion and so on.
See, this is it. You can't imagine that that'll be the case because, as you said, it was TSM who used it in that way.
They should know.
That's it. They're not going to get drawn. They're not going to get baited out into that bunker push from the Blitz. If it is going to be a bunker push from the Blitz, it needs to be a bunker push from the Blitz. It needs to be all hands on deck, getting in there behind Sexy Cake and putting some damage down. They need to commit to it.
Needs a certain sound effect behind it as well, if it comes into
Well, we'll see if we get to that point. Des.
We'll see if it steps up to the field indeed. On the other side, though, I'm thinking there's quite a bit of disruption actually set up to deal with that. Not just the C4s that you're looking at, but you've got the Ela with those concussions. Interestingly, also present yesterday in that rush play we keep on talking about. You've got the smokes, you've got the Goyo shields, lots of tools to slow down the Blitz. And the Blitz really relies on getting up in your face and giving you a headache. Quite literally, as he flashes your screen bright white and someone else then kills you, or he pulls out the pistol and does just that. Looks like it's not going to be the bunker rush. Instead, he's moving down towards the south here, or may just be temporarily for a drone, I'm not sure. But it could be the try rush, maybe down Laundry instead, which would be a little bit different, but may work out just fine.
Nesk currently stationed on the rear stage stairs, just looking to potentially push down onto pillars and aggress to the player who will almost certainly be stationed there. We'll see as the round progresses and we get a little bit more information about where those defenders are playing. For now, PSK and SexyK. SexyK is going towards Freezer here on the Blitz Des, and doesn't look like TSM has set up too much. They've got guns pointed in that direction. Merc and Bolo are watching the Freezer side, but SexyK's actually dipped out of that. I think he had the diffuser with him, and the discussion has been had. We don't want you rushing into Freezer on the Blitz with the diffuser in hand. You really don't want that getting dropped somewhere that it's difficult to collect. So SexyK will continue the push down now to the bottom of the stairs. It looks like he's just waiting for a little bit of support, a little bit of timing here, and I imagine that timing will be an EE1D scan from the Lion.
Well, now that the know he's there, I was going to say, this is the beauty of having the Blitz in this spot. Very commonly, it's super hard to push inside a Freezer. So if you go for just that, chances are you're getting shot out. Someone's going to slip out to you from Cubby, or you're going to have someone playing behind a mirror window to step out and tag you. But here, he can use the information to get himself in quite comfortably. They can't easily bring him down, and he is slowly moving his way forward. Could now needs to look, well, now needs to try and challenge onto the player off to his left, I think. A smoke coming out, which is going to block things out, and a grenade in hand from Paolo, who should come singing out on top. Smoke comes through, and at the same time, the Lion scan comes out. He's in the spot, gets knifed out, but manages to turn 90 degrees to his right to keep the shield in the face of the aggressor. Nesk finding two, and that's the exact distraction play they needed. Nesk again making a statement that he is not going home with the triple kill. PSK in, plant going down, 4 versus 2, and that's going to get confirmed. There's a lot for TSM to do. It turns out there'll be no time to do it. Liquid comfortably taking round number 1.
Nesk cannot manage to find the ace this time. 3 kills, just the 3 Des will have to do for him. A quiet round by his standards through Chalet, really, but SexyK just getting in there with the Blitz, causing a nuisance, and that's for me what the Blitz is all about. It's distraction. It just takes so much attention. It's immediately one of those situations where if you don't focus on it, it's going to catch you out. So players do gravitate towards that operator to try and deal with it quickly, and then that is when you find those cracks that can be manipulated and taken advantage of.
It's a beautiful first round, and I'd argue maybe catching TSM by surprise, not expecting a Blitz in round 1, and when all the focus, in fact, somewhat similar to what we said about the game yesterday, where the Blitz was mainly serving as a distraction tool. You can't ignore him, because he's going to run at you and flash you. So by the time he's pushing up towards the top of Freezer door, you've got Ness swinging across and just sidestepping inside a Laundry, and from there getting the spray down up highway. It's not the same exact attack, but it ends with the same result, a triple kill for the man playing off the distraction. Wonderful start for Liquid. Round 2 we step into, and this time around we're going to go up to the top floor. A Goyo shield present inside a trophy suggests someone's going to be holding there down inside a master for as long as possible. And once that's done, well, there's going to be a laser gate stationed on the trophy door in towards concrete, which can help burn through some utility, catch a drone or two, you name it. And also maybe, I think, a reverse shield being set up here inside of Armory.
Banshee's placed on the entrance into Master Bedroom, but also one on the white stairs as well to prevent the potential for a Team Liquid attacking rush up the white stairs, at least too aggressively. As an absolute minimum, they will have to use something like a frag grenade or an Ash Breach in charge to clear that Banshee out, and that should give TSM all the information they need, the warning. They don't necessarily need the sign, but look at this. Nesk is straight in there, Des. He's absolutely destroyed Gio inside of the Armory. A great opening kill. Doesn't even take time to take the default cam. I'll worry about that later. I'm going to open things up with a headshot onto a Rooney.
Beautiful start, catching out the man playing in Armory does remove that pressure that might have ever been placed by TSM out to the east, and the speed of it is a big one to focus on too. The fact that he can push up Armory stairs so easily inside the opening 20-25 seconds and make that happen, completely catching TSM off guard. In the last round it was the Blitz. Here it turned out to be the Ash, and now they've got this trophy control they were looking for. Look at it, Tim. They've got 2 minutes to play with. That is tons of time to make a push work here from the east side.
Stepping into the drones, PSK is just looking for these remaining defenders, try and see exactly what the setup is inside of sight. Team Liquid, they've got plenty of time here. They can get themselves established inside the map. They can place themselves ready for the push they want to undertake. PSK, he's going to open up for the time being. He's trying to get the odd one out there and get the single pellet to adhere to the wall, but can't get any joy with it. I don't think it'll cause a problem. It does not. He'll be able to get through there, no problem.
Visual Bugger thinks it's open anyway.
Yeah, nice clean hole there. He'll be able to get in and get that diffuser down when the moment comes. The Vulcan shield of Bolo has been cleared away as well. Achieved is making his way back upstairs from a basement rotate. He could hurt them here, Des, with an armory stairs flank.
Needs to check for any drones that he might have stepped over in the process, though, because if he steps over even one, this flank is going to be for absolutely nothing. Takes his time in this one. Knows that there's 60 seconds left, and like on the side of Liquid, they're not going to make a big play happen now. Opts instead to rotate himself down towards White Stairs. I think he's expecting that there is going to be a push coming from Shower side, and he would be correct. Neska's the one who's rotated himself over here after his start inside of Armory. Just sees a couple of pixels appear, and that gives the notice over to the other side that he is present. That should be a freebie. Pull the button, buddy. Pull the damn button. Achieved. Please. You've missed it, buddy. That's too late. They're in now. There's 2 kills for Liquid. This could have all been stopped by one pull of the trigger. It's another triple kill coming out for Nest. 2 rounds in a row. Liquid starting Oregon in style.
I think that, I mean, I'm certainly not criticising with this. I want to be very clear. It just really shows a differentiation between the performance now and the performance at the start of this matchup on Kafe. Des achieved there just off the beat with that nitro. He had it placed well. He didn't pull the trigger. I know that he can't see that there's a man above him, but he hit them so consistently on Kafe. He was an absolute menace on the vertical play, but just unable to make an impact here in round 2. Team Liquid are looking solid. They've just put in a flawless round. This is looking dangerous for TSM and for North American fans everywhere right now.
It's early doors still. It is 2 rounds, so let's not jump ahead of ourselves and think that that's it, done and sealed. It'll be Liquid going through to the next round. You commented already on how, for example, Kafe started, and look how that wound up going. Up to 5-5, ridiculously close, similar sort of story on the prime map. But for Pojo and the boys, they think, well, something is going drastically wrong here, completely against plan, and we don't feel we can sort it by ourselves. Let's take a breather, get Pojo into the conversation, and figure out how we can adapt, because they've been ruined really early into the round, maybe not used to seeing this level of aggression. An Ashe inside in 20 seconds, someone else pressing up and going for a plant with 60 seconds still remaining. It has been very high tempo by Liquid, and maybe it's just that TSM are struggling to adapt.
That's just getting cheeky, thinking... The problem is that you can see... The problem for TSM is that you can see in Nesk's gameplay that he just feels confident right now. He's having fun inside of the server, and he's like, you know what? I'm hitting shots. I'm hitting shots, and I know that my shots are better than most other people's in the world, so I'm going to go for this. And he's happy right now to just run in and take that gunfight, because he knows he's probably going to win it. And then this round, he probably doesn't. He steps back, he tempers his pace a little bit more, and he's just making himself unpredictable right now.
That's the way to do it. Keep your enemy constantly guessing what it is you'll be doing, and you'll be victorious many a time over. Downstairs we go again into the basement then. Nothing really big worth shouting about in terms of changes coming out for TSM. They have subbed out and brought in a second shield alongside the Goyo here, which we lent on previously and said was going to be used to slow down the attackers, burn some time out of that blitz, but really never got used for that use case. And so far, I would wager Liquid haven't exactly been conventional. Maybe the previous round you'd argue their attack somewhat was, until Nest finds a double kill at the bottom of White and suddenly your world is turned upside down. But their push that came in with the blitz, one that was a bit unexpected. So in a way, this is the first time TSM are going to face off against a, air quotes, normal attack from Liquid.
And this is the thing that Team Liquid, you know, are smart in doing, Des, is that by changing it up and not bringing the blitz, TSM can't adapt to this now. They're starting from scratch again. They're starting with very little information as to what's actually going to come at them, because if they think, right, last time they brought the blitz, they pushed freezer, they distracted us, they're going to wait for that, and then they're going to find pretty quickly that's not what we're facing. They're going to have to try and move, maneuver, and adapt during the round, and that is when you can get caught out just as much as when you've got a blitz in front of you.
Well, drones are flying in down through the freeze the stairs here just to give him a bit more information and everyone to start thinking about a push through. As Bolo retreats backwards, those drones, once you collected a couple of them, as roamers, you often want to get yourself back on site and start readying up for when the follow-up comes through. For some teams, though, it does mean re-droning has to take place, and admittedly on the side of Liquid, they are absolutely stacked for drones, given you've also got the Iana on side. Again, Nesk absolutely jacked for kills. 7 he made it in 3 rounds so far, and there's still 4 more bodies on the other side that he might want to add to his kill count.
1 minute into the round, Nest gets the opener once again. TSM find themselves on the back foot and they're reeling right now, Des. They are reeling. They've been caught with a sucker punch here at the beginning of Oregon and they are punch drunk. They need to steady the ship as soon as possible. This is not a team that you want to give up 3 or 4 rounds to. It's not to say that that would make it impossible for TSM. They are, for my money, one of the few teams in the world capable of overturning that sort of lead from somebody like Team Liquid, but the point is that it's not going to be easy. You've got to remember now, it's getting to be quite a while since the last taste of victory for TSM inside of this matchup. They won Kafe, but then have lost Chalet. They lost it hard in overtime in the 15th round, and now they come in and start getting beaten up on Oregon. That's got to get to you mentally. That's got to be difficult to just block out.
I mean, here there's still so much time to play with as well. We were at about 1.5 minutes and they were getting the hatches opened up, starting to square up by removing away some of the shields, the banshees, things that will impede them once the attack actually commences. Nesk, assuming his power position here on the big tower stairs, I'd expect, will look to contest down there. Knows there's one on Harry Potter. Geo looking to try and contest quite simply. A grenade comes out. Do they know there's still a man down here? If they can bounce this well, he might find himself tagged out pretty quickly. Another drone steps in. He backs out towards Shaiko's spot, but he's been pressed. 2 inside of construction, 2 playing on big tower, and there's the entry kill that gets it all started. Geo picking up Paolo at the top of the stairs. Nest finds one, but it's a friendly nade. It was in his hand when he died. It goes off and brings down God himself. Nesk has finally been slain, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm wondering if Paolo knows that Nesk is clocking up the kills here and he's thinking, don't come for my top score now achieved. He's going to die to his own flames there after getting a kill onto PSK, but it gives Sexy Kate the opportunity to get the diffuser down. Bolo could do this here. Des is 1 versus 2. The cover turns away and an inopportune moment, but no! Sexy Kate comes off the diffuser. He does it all as he steps out and finds that kill onto Bolo. Honestly, Des, in a few heartbeats, that could have gone very differently. The cover just looked away at the moment that Bolo stepped out. Moringa, he's laughing now because he knows how close that was. They could have been caught out there, but Sexy Cake, the timing allowed for it, got off that diffuser after successfully planting and found that final kill.
Just goes to show sometimes it's a game of milliseconds. If half a second extra had been given to Bolo on the step out, i.e. if he left Cubby a little bit sooner, maybe he steps out and brings Sexy Kate down. The round ends there. But the small delay enabled time for Moringa to get in position, for Sexy Kate to finish planting and come off and make it a 2 versus 1 again rather than a 1 versus 1, and they lose out. Achieved, so thirsty for a kill, chose that he may as well just burn in fire at the same time. Not quite the outcome you're looking for, but it's a 3rd round on the bounce, and you can see that energy building up. Not that it's hard to miss the energy already being present, it feels like, so much so that he gets a triple tap from the coach on the knuckles after that round. Rightly deserved, because again, it's 8 kills so far for the side of TSM. Maybe handed a bit of a lifeline here as we have another rehost coming through. I think the 6th pick bug striking once more. So not quite a timeout for them, but definitely a breather they are going to need, because right now they just look lost for ideas on this Oregon defense.
If anybody ever wondered what I look like whilst casting and it's getting into overtime and we get into those late rounds, it's very much like Nesk just looked there.
What, balding and excited?
Well, I don't want to start throwing, you know, that sort of name around us, but yeah, excitable, screaming.
Him minus the gun skill.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all right, mate. Well, you haven't got a gun skill, you make up for in casting.
Just that energy and passion that he's screaming into his camera there.
That's
is
it, mate.
Very much the way that I feel in those late rounds. Now, we've got everybody back into the lobby. We'll be getting back into this one very, very shortly. A quick lead being picked up by Team Liquid here. 3-0, 3 successful attacks, 2 onto Laundry and Supply and 1 onto Dorms. Now, TSM, they've got to be wondering at this point, what can they do? Where do they go? Because they've used the 2 primary sites and they've been unable to lock them down. Not only have they been unable to lock them down, Des, they've been relatively uncompetitive, to be honest, at this point, TSM are struggling to get themselves a foothold inside of this game, and they need to do it quickly because it is going to run away from them. The problem that you've got, you see it on the side of Team Liquid there, they're laughing, Des. They're laughing, they're having fun, and how many times have I said this? That is the last sort of team that you want to play against. You don't want to play against the team that is just light-hearted, yep, enjoying our siege, because they are dangerous.
I can't wait to see Twitter and Twitch chat's reactions to what we just saw from Liquid there. No idea what they're taking. I guarantee you it's nothing illegal or against the rules, don't worry. But that's definitely going to get a few video clips and GIFs off the back of that one. A good way to get yourself ready for round number 4, no doubt. We go back up to the second floor. I don't think it really matters which site TSM go to right now because Liquid are having their number in every single round. Again, that rehost may be serving as a bit of a blessing, a chance to have a quick conversation around what needs to be fixed because whatever was discussed in that rehost, or sorry, in the tactical timeout earlier on for TSM, clearly didn't work in round number 3.
Top floor defense again. TSM really need to be getting themselves around on the board here to make themselves more competitive. As I said, struggling to even really make any sort of indentation into this one to begin with, especially into the Team Liquid attack. There just seems to be very little. It's not their choice where the gunfights come. It's certainly not their choice what the outcomes are. It is just all Team Liquid at the minute. Neski's going to get in there, just droning himself for the time being, making sure that small tower is clear. As soon as it is, I'm sure that he will head on in there. He's going to be looking to move towards those white stairs this time. Last time around when we saw them attack dorms, we saw Ness just aggress straight up those armory stairs and get himself an entry kill. It's an absolute freebie, Des. Sexy Cake on the upside down rappel. He finds Merc rotating inside a site. There is not even a challenge made onto him. 5 versus 4 straight away once again for Team Liquid.
I just want to see Liquid in the chat start getting something back at Merc after all he loves typing here. It says he likes to get in the heads of people. It's time for someone to get inside of his head. Right now, the only thing getting inside there is bullets, apparently. As for TSM, it has not been a good first few rounds. 3 kills collectively, 1 per round. You carry on at that level, things are not going to end well for you. Forced out a trophy by those flashes, and finally, the shield is destroyed. Good time being made by Liquid once again.
Sex Kick about to drone in, just manages to skip past the mute jammer there, so he doesn't end up getting his drone captured. Palu moving through quietly, coming up the freezer stairs. Now then, there are men ahead of him. Are they aware? The Malusi seems to be watching the angle. Yes, achieved is locked, ready to go. Should get the kill, but no. Palu able to dip away. I don't think he's going to push that fight. Oh, he is. He's back up here, Des. He's hungry. He wants the kill here. He wants to find Achieved and shut him down, or at least hold him inside of security for the time being.
Oh, the pressure,
Nesk looking to approach through. There's the potential here. He gets the headshot up through the hatch onto Bolo. Little will he know that he could have made a challenge through the soft wall. Achieved, it is who finds him, but not before the damage is done. 1 minute to go, and it is 4 versus 2. Palu able to push up the white stairs. The signal is there, but he beats the man anyway. It doesn't matter that Achieved knows that the approach was coming. He still gets the kill on the reverse angle. It's all down to Chalet. 1 versus 3. He holds a tight angle from the top of white stairs. He needs to find the man. He gets one. In comes the nade to move him, though. It won't matter. Moringa gets the trade. Team Liquid 4-0, and they are running away with this.
On the attack on Oregon as well. Not the map you expect to see it on, and most definitely not the side you often think defenders would be the ones crawling away here with the amount of time they can burn, and TSM haven't been short of options here. They brought the Goyo, they've got the smoke, they've got C4s. All these things to deny Liquid without having to do so much as firing a shot, and they're still losing out to little things like this, peaks and challenges. And yes, they're getting the odd kill back here and there, but Liquid are just ready for them. They've got ready every single rotate cut. Every single time someone steps out for a peek, there's someone there to challenge. They almost had a beautiful 3-way setup on side of Achieved in security, by the way. Nesk up to the north, Paolo coming down through Z, and one coming up from Freezer at the same time. It's a little bit insane right now how far ahead they are, and for Liquid, they carry on. 2 more rounds at the half and being 6-0 up. Could you imagine the probability of TSM coming back from that kind of deficit? I don't even want to put odds on that.
astronomical, Des. Astronomical is the only way to describe it. Especially, the thing is, it's not just about coming back from the score, it's coming back against this Team Liquid that we see in here. They have hit their stride. There is no better way to describe it. They are absolutely in full flow at the minute. There is no stopping them right now. This is not in the hands of TSM. But if they want to continue in this tournament, they've got to find a way. They've got to put the wall up. They've got to be able to stop Liquid. They go into their third choice site here. It's going to be Kitchen and Meeting. Team Liquid, will they pick apart this defense once again?
I mean, based on historical evidence, yeah. It doesn't matter seemingly what TSM throw at the minute. They just need to find some kind of magical answer. And I wish I could say it's as simple as Bolo starting to pick up kills or anything along those lines, but it's never quite that simple. It's going to require a team effort. We keep on speaking about the individuals hitting these kill records, but winning a round of Siege cannot be done by one man alone, unless you're Nesk, apparently, and walking away with an ace is definitely a way to get it going. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm out of ideas for what they can do here, but things like this definitely don't help. Another opening kill for Moringa onto Geo this time round. And Bolo knows there's a man outside. He's even got a cam out there. Probably a bit too late now. Knows that there's two pushing in from Big Tower. And I think he's going to hang around and take a second challenge in case someone does step out. But like Liquid have done a few times in this series, we saw it back on Kafe. They just completely change up their attack here. They back away from this northwest side and instead move out to the east. Start thinking about a potential push inside of Armory.
Nesk is drawn in once again. We've seen it plenty of times. He's getting that information gathered for himself and then he just follows it in and gets kill after kill achieved right now. Is sat down there on the pillars looking to defend the lower level here underneath the site. He has a Nitro in hand, the hatch is open, so there is the potential for him to deny a plant on the rear stage should Liquid go for that. So they need to deal with him, and Nesk is heading in that direction. He has lost some health. He's going to be heading down. He's looking to take the challenge onto Achieved. He's just crouching around, just trying to get the angle now then. Chalet lucky to escape with his life there. He's just going to move himself, relocate, get himself onto the rear stage. 1 minute left to go. Vertical pressure is about to be applied from Sexy Cake. Team Liquid, they look okay, Des, but they need to get moving.
Sexy Kick. Oh, that swing at the perfect time. They know that it's going to make him drop out as they come for the push down, and Ness swings on Big Tower, brings down Chalet. Is instantly traded, so it's not the end of the world, but oh my God, this looks like two different teams have stepped into the server, or more that Liquid have stayed present, and TSM are already packing up their bags and thinking about that flight home. They're being absolutely decimated. Palu with 2, 4 versus 1 again, and Liquid are going to go 5-0 on the attack of Oregon. You'd be mistaken for thinking that this was anything but SI at this level of competition, but TSM are being absolutely decimated, torn limb from limb. Liquid at 5-0. They're about to sign their ticket into the lower bracket final with that shot at a grand final tomorrow.
I think that final kill onto Achieve just sums up the way things are going for TSM at the minute. Hit by an air jab, flashed, disorientated, not a clue where the attack was coming from. Shut down by Moringa and the round closed out 5-0 to Team Liquid, and this has been a dream start to map 3 for them. They have grown and grown into this fixture.
We had a big conversation at the start of the series saying Kafe and Chalet, man, they look like TSM maps, like they should walk away. And as the winner of those two, potentially, Liquid were competitive on both of those. We've come into Oregon, which TSM barely play. They have a couple of games on it so far this year. Liquid have 10. We need to have that conversation, and we did very briefly, I guess, but a conversation about this being Liquid's preferred map, especially over a team like TSM, who have barely touched it.
We're going to be heading into the final defensive round for TSM here, and one way or another the pain will stop shortly, Des. They will at least be off the defence if nothing else. I'm sure they won't want to be off Oregon. They're going to want to play this for a long time to come yet, but there may be one last little bit of suffering, and that is in the shape of a blitz again being brought along by Sexy Cake. We saw it back in round number 1. It was for an attack onto Laundry and Supply that time around. This time it's being brought to support the Dorms attack. How can TSM deal with this time around?
End as you started, I guess, is the way to look at it. And the answer again and the way to deal with it is what they've been doing all half long, and apparently none of those things have worked. I would wager here, they've got 4 operators that are all here to contest something like the Blitz, the Smoke, the Yokais, the Goyo Shields, the C4s they're bringing along, the Banshees. Everything just screams to me that this should be here in response to the blitz, and they should be able to shut it down. But all these times we've been saying should or could or will simply haven't manifested themselves in truth just yet. They start out on the trophy side here and start thinking about their east push in. They've been so quick in getting this ground control and barely really bothering with Attic. Let us say we don't need it. Trophy in game is enough for us. As soon as we get that wardrobe wall control, that's our point of ingress, and that's where the round really takes off.
30 seconds in. They were 30 seconds in, and Sexy Cake was established inside of Trophy and able to push into Master and say, yep, you're clear to come in, guys. Now, Palu looking for the long angle through the window into Games Room there, just looking to see if he can catch anybody out as they move in or around Attic. He's going to hold this angle for the time being, and Palu is unlikely to miss his shots if somebody steps across. The flashbangs come in, starting to burn utility now. That, of course, will have taken care of the ADSs, which then allowed the explosives in to deal with the Volcan shield. We've got the rotations, the flanks, air jabbed off Des. Team Liquid, they're thinking about everything. They're on top of it. They're looking phenomenal right now.
They've gone to work with zero resistance. They were even prepared, I should say, for a C4 from below. They backed away just in the right amount of time. They have the Nomad down on Armory stairs. They've got a flank watcher in position. You know that because you're so tightly packed together inside of game and trophy, the only way they can really do damage to you is either via trophy door or via a flank or a C4 from below. You've drawn out one C4. There's one remaining. You know they can't flank you up Armory because of the Nomad, and the Nomad is also sat there watching it. So what options have TSM got here? They're being stifled. A grenade coming out, a second one should be enough to secure it out, but Geo down to about 15 HP, and here comes the execute. Liquid take no prisoners. Nesk with the opener. Merc gets one back. In fact, 2 kills for TSM. Could this be the one defensive round to give them a chance in the second half? The plant won't go down. Sexy Cake left entirely alone, and TSM's patience has paid off in this round, but the diffuser has gone down. They're against the shield. He knifes one. They're stacking up on the door. Flashes another. No way can he pull this off all the way. He steps around and goes for a second. They can't chase him off, and he can see the diffuser. They're lining up. He found one. He can't get them all, though. Finally, they put him down. But for a second, you could believe it was going to be a 6-0. TSM give themselves a lifeline. They take one defensive round. They have got to pull off a miracle on attack, Tim.
Sexy Cake dared to dream for a second there as he just held on to that trophy door, shield in hand, flashing, meleeing, shooting, hip firing, everything that he could throw at the defenders there, but it just wasn't enough.
The man is definitely from the Roman legions playing like that. Shield in front, hoorah, shield ready to go, spear behind it, in this case a knife. He looked ready to take on the world. It was like something out of 300. I loved it.
Certainly did look that way. But TSM able to get it over the line, and that is a good start for not only TSM, but for the North American fans out there as well. This could be where the comeback starts. It's going to be a long climb ahead of them, Des. Their arms and legs are going to be burning, but they just keep working. They need to just keep those limbs pumping towards that target. Keep the eye on the goal. Keep the eye on that lower bracket final.
I didn't check the script this morning, actually. Wade didn't send it over in time. Did you see it go into overtime on the third map, or did you have a clean sweep for Liquid?
I wouldn't like to reveal it, Des.
Oh, it's got to say secret.
I don't want to spoil the surprise for him.
Maybe we'll leak it afterwards, but for now, there's no leaking ahead of time, that's for sure. Right, let's get into it. TSM, their attacks take the shape of a Twitch, something we've seen a little bit here at SI. Hasn't been a go-to super popular operator, but some teams have opted to bring it where a Thatcher, for example, isn't available, or for some, they really value the smokes. For the side of Liquid, they took that in the form of things like the Blitz that we saw, of course, carrying 2 smokes in the back pocket, but also has the F2, a gun that everyone is in love with. One of the favourite attacking weapons, no doubt. High rate of fire, high damage, what's not to love? And of course, you're going to stick it on your main man in Bolo, saying to him, right, we need someone that can contest on these frags. Bolo, pick the operator that you know is going to do that for you, and he goes, it's the Twitch. See what he can do on it.
Round 7 and 8 are going to be particularly important in my mind. We're in a situation now where these next 2 rounds, if TSM can prevent Team Liquid from getting themselves onto match point, suddenly you find yourself 5-3. And that beating that you took in the first half is not the end of the world anymore. You've got yourself back on your feet, you've dusted yourself down, and you're ready to go again. You're ready to fight back, and TSM might just need that momentum shift of coming onto the attack instead of being on the defence, but it is all going to be decided in these next couple of rounds immediately. That's what we need to see them do now. Come out and grab a hold of these ones. Bolo's looking to push down the rear stage stairs, as we've seen him do so many times. The drones are going out in front of him. They will no doubt spot that Sexy Cake is playing down in that location. They may well force him away. See him just switching over to the shotgun though, so absolutely not. He will not bend, he will not break, he will not be pushed out of that spot. He's going to hold on to it at the short angle with the shotgun. He's ready for the fight.
I think Bolo's hoping someone gets cheeky and wants to step up to try and kill a drone or two, and he can take a freebie from there. And Sexy Kate looking a little bit skittish. The thing is, as things happen around you, as your other team members spring into action, players do start moving. Hatches get open, walls get popped open by the hard breach, for example, and suddenly you're thinking, okay, I need to move and make something happen here. I need to start getting the initiative in this round. Bolo's going to be the one who breaks stance first. Knows that there maybe is one or two hanging out towards his right-hand side, and he would be correct. His bullets ring out right in front of his face, just by a few centimeters. Not going to find himself going down, though. With 60 seconds remaining, this is a much slower round from TSM than what we saw out of Liquid on their attacks. I'm worried, Tim.
It is, but TSM, they're just trying to get themselves positioned. As the big concern for me at the minute is with 50 seconds, they're not inside a bunker yet. They're not really established. They've not cleared the utility out. PSK is able to continue playing behind a shield here. The Twitch drone comes in. There's the nade. Bolo looks to challenge, but has to dip away. He's forced back once again. 35 seconds left to go now. PSK flips 180 and looks to challenge onto that bunker door, but he's playing this smart. He's not over-peaking. He's just waiting until they have to commit themselves, and that's when he's going to hit them from the side. Sexy Kate gets the first kill onto Achieve. Bolo, however, opens up PSK, but
the double!
Ness goes big with a double. Sexy Cake matches him, and that is Team Liquid taking round 7 and putting themselves onto match point here on Oregon. This is it now, Des. There are no opportunities left for TSM, no more mistakes. It is now or never. Win every round or go home.
And that last round was far from inspiring for TSM. A very slow, lethargic setup. And they say, okay, time to pull the trigger at about the 40-second mark. But when they do, the other side of Liquid, barely disturbed, not forced to move, and just happy to stand there and collect kills as you come running at them. Excellent hold down by Liquid, looking very dug in and mostly untroubled outside of Bolo's kill, pushing round. There's nothing really to be afraid of because Ness steps out, kills Bolo and the man that was there to trade him, and Ness, Sexy Cake, holding on the elbow, nice and close, kills both as they come running in at the same time. It is a problem for TSM when you've got two players having to burst in down big tower on a very narrow stairway and two players coming in for construction at the same time, and that is all you're relying on in the round. TSM look lost. They're out of time, out of ideas, and almost out of hope for them and the many fans around the world who want to see them crack on. But if Liquid win this, it's going to be an all LATAM affair tomorrow. It's going to be a LATAM game of MIBR versus Liquid to kick it off, and the grand finalists of NIP coming back for a second bite at the cherry in a grand final 2 years in a row will face off against the winner of that first matchup. It is going to be unbelievable, Ace, because LATAM this year have played some of the most impressive Siege I have ever seen.
Without question, Des. Without question. And they have put it on display to the world over the last 2 weeks. And I tell you what, there's a lot of neutral fans out there that have been absolutely hook, line and sinker taken in by these LATAM teams, by the aggression and passion that they show. You included, Des, and many others along with you, which is completely understandable. They have given us a masterclass, and right now TSM, they are the last hope of North America. They're the last hope of anybody supporting anybody that isn't from LATAM.
Already 45 seconds in. Every single second you just see tick away at the top of your screen, you wince and cringe a little bit more, just knowing what it can lead to. Absolute defeat for TSM unless they get the pacing of this attack right. They can't afford to just say, well, our hope is that we all burst in the final 40 seconds and make it happen.
There we go.
But that's what you hope for. That's the pacing you're looking for. 2 opening kills, and Nesk being one of them is definitely something to celebrate, as he's been having a field day, as we've talked about so many times during this series. With 2 minutes left, 5 versus 3, we had a very similar situation for Liquid back on Chalet and said, there is no way, absolutely absolutely no way they can lose the round from this with the time and resources they have. They've barely used any utility. This should be a TSM round with this kind of advantage.
Great start from TSM. That's what we wanted to see. Coming out, getting aggressive, taking control of this game. Shots will rain towards the Team Liquid defender there, but will not connect, at least not sufficiently to get the kill. SexyKate taking big damage on the Valkyrie, but able to at least escape to fight for a little longer. Nearly lose 2 on the door there as they peak at the same time. Achieved unfortunate, manages to get SexyKate, but Palu will re-peak and get the trade, leaving us now 4 versus 2, but low health both for Moringa and Palu, and they are spotted out. TSM know where they are. They've just got to start hitting these shots. There's Charla will be able to eventually fight off. It's Gio and Bolo who get the kills. Charla somehow survives inside a classroom. TSM, that is the first of 5 rounds that they need to get back to back.
Boys still look pretty forlorn, and they know that this is such a big hill to climb. 4 rounds back-to-back is a big ask for any team. It doesn't matter who you are. We've seen some miraculous comebacks throughout playoffs and throughout the group stages here at SI. But this feels like one that might be a small stretch too far. 2 gunfights in there, admittedly, for Achieved, and the player that was in Classroom, I forget who it was at the bitter end of that one, who you'd be looking at and saying, really, you need to be winning those gunfights. When the players are stepping out in front of you and you've got the angle, the advantage, you need to be connecting those big shots. Fortunately, the side of Liquid whiff a couple as well, though, and they get a bit of assistance from Zulu to help them close out the round. But for TSM, you have got to be sharp as anything here. You need to be the ones taking the onus in these rounds, getting the early kills like we saw just then, and converting that into a round win. But for Liquid, they've got 4 rounds, arguably, to experiment with here. They can do all kinds of balmy stuff to get it over the finish line.
Certainly can. Nesk, he's going to get that mute jammer down, so there is a significant amount of attention being paid towards Attic for Team Liquid. They've got a Banshee in there, they've got the mute jammer, they've reinforced the walls. They want to keep a hold of that for the time being at least. The walls reinforced, an interesting Valkyrie camp there just inside of the game room. Inside the little lampshade will no doubt be difficult to spot out. If nothing else, TSM need to be aware they could be under constant surveillance at a point that they try to push in for a plant going down. PSK underneath as well as Nesk. TSM need to get in and deal with these mid-floor roamers. They need to clear them out, particularly Ness, because, as we've said, he's having a great game. He's on fire right now, and given the opportunity on the flanks, he will hurt them. So they need to recognise that quickly. And I don't want to see them waste too much time. They did very well last time around. We saw those kills come in quickly, one after another, and they just managed to really ride that wave of momentum. And I think they just need a bit more of that.
For now, at least, it's starting out much the same as the last round. It was about the 2:16 mark where Bolo was just starting to step up onto the balcony leading into Master, and I was saying, now's the time where you've got to take the onus because every single second makes you cringe, it makes you wince, and then, hey, 2 kills came out of nowhere, and hopefully me repeating those words makes something happen to keep TSM competitive. For now, at least, it seems to be a bit more slow pace for Liquid, not looking to get hyper-aggressive early on. Admittedly, their 2 deaths did come to quite wild angles. One was a wall bang, because they saw the smallest pixel of a player before he disappeared back behind the wall. The other one was a clean spray at the bottom of White Stairs that caught a retreating Valkyrie, I believe it was, in Sexy Cake, as he was trying to push back onto the site. This time, though, much more cautious, and we can play behind these impacts. First one fails, second one doesn't work either. Sexy Cake messing up both of those means the wall is opened up here and suddenly under a bit more pressure.
Absolutely, Sexy Cake a little bit stuck here, just struggling to move away. He doesn't know which angle is being held exactly, so needs to be careful not to step into a line of fire. Does manage to get himself to White Stairs through the rotate, just dips away from the fight. I think that's the best option to take there. Leave himself to be an impact later in the round. Nesk is still roaming around underneath here. Hasn't had an impact on the round as of yet, but switches to the shotgun and just starting to open things up, vertical angles. But I think Achieved is aware of his position, but TSM, they need to get moving soon. Gio manages to get a kill onto Sexy Cake to level things up at 4 versus 4. Final minute now, and TSM, they have to make an impact here. They don't really have too much top floor control. They haven't got a handle on Nesk at the minute. They haven't got him off the board. Palu is still roaming underneath as well. Team Liquid looking pretty good at the minute, Des.
They are. Timing-wise for TSM is always going to be the concern. Final 40 seconds. They have had that 1-for-1 trade, but it's still a man that you're down on your side. Things are still looking equal between the two. this is where the pace has got to step up. You've got Chief playing out to the west, you've got Charlotte up towards the north, Merc and Geo playing out to the east and the south. They have got full compass coverage, but unless you can find kills, it's not that big a deal. Moringa finds one, challenged out immediately by Merc. It's a 3 versus 2, but Palu's still out on the roam. A 2 versus 2, where is Palu? What's his impact going to be? Because it could be massive. C4 in hand, can he make it? Sing, they throw out one. I don't think it's going to connect. They try a second, it might get the one man. No, it can't. Both C4s out, but Diffuser is down. No man's dead. It's a 2 versus 2, so now it's kind of flip roles. It's the attackers become defenders. They hold White Stairs. They've got the long angle. Merc waiting for them to come for the swing. The fact that Nesk is alive is going to make anyone nervous. They stack up. It's a triple kill in the round for Geo. Merc closing it out, and again, a very nonchalant reaction coming out of TSM because there's still 3 more rounds that they need to do more of that.
Lots of work to be done, but that is very promising from TSM there. There's a great round. Merc and Geo just really locking it down, taking the initiative there, getting in, recognising that there was an opportunity with 2 downstairs to just get in, take control of site, and they really did ride that wave of momentum to get themselves in, get the kills, and get that diffuser down on the ground. And at that point, it's pretty easy to hold off Team Liquid because you just need to keep that angle onto the White Stairs. Both Geo and Merc were watching the same location. They knew how important it was and how likely it was that that would be the position for Nesk and Palu to push back onto site. 2 easy kills for them to finish off the round. As you say, a great triple coming in from Geo there. He's been so important throughout this tournament. He really has had an amazing performance. I can't give enough shout outs to Geo and his performances through the 6th Invitational. We might just see a few more of them yet.
It's coming down to splitting hairs in a way. It's very narrow in terms of the lead they're building out, but not really a lead, but an advantage in these rounds to get them over the finish line. It was a 4 versus 4 with a minute to go, for example, so it wasn't like TSM have bowled their way through a whole round, but they have found the critical kills enough to get the diffuser down, and scary enough to think that if those 2 C4s had been placed a little more differently, that could have been game over, lights out for TSM. They're going home on the next plane return, and Liquid proceed through to tomorrow. Anyway, into the round. We step back down into the basement. Imagine Sexy Kate's going to position himself once more inside a blue with a shotgun and a shield. It's when he stepped out from here last time round as the attackers ran through a smoke canister that he collected 2 kills for himself. And Nesk, playing on pillar, stepped out from there and sprayed down Bolo and his trader who was playing right behind him. And ultimately, those 4 kills netted the round for Liquid. For TSM, we need to see more than just pushing and hoping for the best in this round, because last time round, it came down to gunfights, and they lost every single one spectacularly.
Merkin achieved getting into the map quickly. Nice aggression from TSM, looking to clear those roamers out and make sure that they've got map control. Achieved on the top floor, Merc on the mid floor, looking to then push through. Achieved opens up the hatch. He knows there's potentially somebody at the rear stage, and it's a nice angle for him to use there to try and just push PSK further down those rear stage stairs. Merc has been aggressing down Freezer stairs as well. Bolo joining him on that side of the push, but looks to dip away, and he's going to move through to the rear stage as well as Achieved, I would guess, at this point. It's a good start so far from TSM Des. They've got pressure being applied to the laundry hatch, to rear stage, to Freezer. Plenty of options for them here.
And good pace as well. It's the kind of thing we commend Liquid for.
Loads of time left.
And getting hatches open up at about the minute 30 mark. Good, all 3 have been opened up here. Now it's about dealing with the challenges that present themselves downstairs. They've managed to force all of these roamers back onto the bottom. As you can see, all 5 members of Liquid are currently stacked up on site. Nesk playing the spot he was in previously around Pillar with PSK. You've got Sexy Cake holding out on elbows, we've seen previously, and Moringa and Palu looking to hold up onto the south side. So a good split up right now. Just trying to feel out, no doubt, where the attacks are coming from, because once all 3 hatches are opened, you're asking the question of, okay, which hatch are they going to attack through? What direction are they going to go on? Where's the support going to stack up? Drones to the north at least suggest that it might be a blue push in, and Bolo is present, just waiting for someone to run through this cross. We've seen a couple of these missed out, a couple of blind sprays connecting onto kills, but it's all about being snappier with the reaction times here if one does choose to cross.
That's it. Bolo can't be spotted out from the single door there, so he can hold that angle for as long as he wants, and if the rest of his team can start forcing the defenders to move around, he could find himself a kill, but we see a down onto to Merc, leaving us effectively in a 5 versus 4. He will be picked up back onto 20 health, so that is something at least. 5 versus 5 we are again. Gio looking to pressure
25.
from Laundry. I like this, Des. I like that they're pushing in from everywhere, but right now they can't win the gunfights. Nesk and Moringa managing to get kills. Moringa is traded out in there. Nesk gets another, and surely this is going in the direction of Liquid Bolos through the smoke. Palu has no idea. As they come through, it's Nesk and Sexy Cake. I'm sure you can hear Team Liquid in the background. They win and guarantee, Des, that for the first time in Siege history, tomorrow we will crown a Latin American world champion. We don't know yet who that will be. Team Liquid join MIBR and NIP in those very final stages, and I would say it's very difficult to find any argument to say that they haven't earned their spot